Trump is CPAC. Burger Reich. Hamas releases last hostages. Last alive hostages. Later we do Saturday. Fun day. Fun reacts. Galore. Gaming and more. Elon reply girl sued him and leaked DMs. Taylor broke the story. Ooh, drama. Okay, we'll look at that as well. I truly don't understand why Elon Musk chooses to be the guy that he is. Like, you can be any other guy. You can be any other type of guy. You can be a cool guy, you know? You're the richest guy on the planet. At the end of the day, you could just be a silent guy. You know what I mean? You could be the kind of guy who you know, doesn't make a lot of noise and just kind of runs the planet as the wealthiest person on the planet. And yet he is not doing that. He is not being the chill guy. He is being a not so chill guy, a very weird guy. All right. Do we have a blast off meme? You've seen Anthony Edwards talk to Obama. I love that clip. I've been meaning to watch it on the stream. I guess I'll watch it now. Do we have a blast off meme? What is this? Panocha is a vulgar Spanish slang term for a woman's vulva. Is a feminine noun that's commonly used in Mexico and among Mexican Americans. Did you hear J. Cole is back? I saw a video of J. Cole dunking, and it genuinely changed my whole worldview. Like, it changed everything. It changed everything about the way I see the world. I'm a simple man, okay? Impressive feats of athleticism will immediately make me think higher of you. Like, you're automatically sick. You're automatically dope. Just do the Grimes copy pasta, but with the LeBron pick. Hasanabi is a J. Cole fan now. I wouldn't go that far, but I do respect him. Like, I definitely have a lot more respect for him for being able to do that. Whereas I watched Snoop Dogg dunk as well, and I'll be honest with you, he didn't invoke that feeling in me at all because, you know, I've seen too much of the stuff that he does. Even though Snoop Dogg can dunk at the age of like 53, which is crazy. Anyway, Trump is CPAC, Burger Ride, come on, really. I can't even talk, dude. That's LeBron's age. Okay. When you try to disparage the GOAT like that by saying he's 53, all you're doing is unironically making him look cooler, because every single person that sees that goes, oh my God, how is he still such a dominant force in the NBA at the age of 53? That's like when people suspect me of using steroids. You know what I mean? When they come in here and say, Hassan, you're a steroid user, be honest about it. I'm like, oh, that's a compliment, you know? We're going to do Trump in a second. I want to watch Anthony Edwards first to get this Sunday or Saturday fun day started off in the right way, okay? Even with Obama around, Anthony Edwards is still going to be himself. I love this back and forth, okay?
Y'all better stand down. I'm the truth.
He said to Barack Hussein Obama, y'all better stand down. I'm the truth.
He's saying the truth. He's saying the truth. Yeah.
He boy know.
I guess.
I don't think Anthony Edwards understands. Like, Barack Obama has killed people. Okay? Like, a lot, as a matter of fact. You are not just talking to any human being. You are talking to a man who oversaw the activities of one of the most dominant empires, the currently most dominant empire, for 8 whole years. Okay? That's crazy.
He cold though. I gotta give him credit. He give up 50 every time we play him.
I mean,
like I ain't 7 foot.
And y'all got 2 7-footers and he's still
Hold on.
Huh?
Don't talk. We ain't gonna do all that.
He said, hold on, don't talk. We're not gonna do all that. Once again, I'm just going to repeat this point, okay? That's Barack Obama. Oh, that's not him? I thought that was Ant who said
I'm
that.
just saying.
3 7-footers.
Oh, was that? Oh, never mind. That's I thought that was also Ant. I thought no. everyone around him is also actively noticing what's going on at this point and trying to fix the situation. And I think it's really funny It was Ant. Oh, was it him who said, hold on?
Oh, we ain't gonna do all that.
No, I'm just saying.
3-7 for us.
He got 3. That's right, because he got 9
I gave him
straight.
credit. I told you that. I said
He did. He did
I
give
gave
you
him
credit.
credit.
I remember that.
There's a sense of panic. Okay. There's a sense of real panic. It was Ant saying that. There's a sense of real panic. Watch what happens. Watch what happens when my goat also sees what's going on in his periphery. Okay. You know he has the best game IQ. He can see the entire court. And right now, he notices something that's going on and slowly walks in.
Okay. LeBron.
Which is crazy because Barack Obama also ends up calling LeBron over like he's like, come on, tell him to respect me, basically.
Listen, are y'all
Look at my man's hands, dude. He's
talking to
like,
this young man?
look at this. He's just like fidgeting. He's like, oh God, dude, come on, dude.
He did
I
give
gave
you
him
credit.
credit.
I remember that. Okay. LeBron, listen, y'all talking to this young man because he just keeps on.
I love the first moment where LeBron enters the equation, enters the conversation, because you see the sense of panic in his eyes where he's like, y'all left Anthony Edwards directly with Barack Obama. Like, this is like, he walks in like, this is not the best idea. This was not the best idea for anybody to do.
Right now, he just said he's the truth and all that, and
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the
that's
truth.
what he said.
You asked him. You tell him the whole context of the situation, though. You asked him what he think about this young man, and he said, "I'm okay." I said, "I'm the truth." He tripping. That's what happened.
What's wrong with that?
We gotta have that.
Bro, Anthony Edwards, he has Conqueror's hockey. Okay? I'm sorry. He literally has Conqueror's hockey. He just straight up said, nah, stand down to not only Barack Obama, but basically LeBron, which I think if we're talking about basketball, he is more important than Barack Obama in the field, in the relevant thing that they're talking about. Well, he is like, Hassan, you did miss the context. Yeah, he did. I mean, he was right. He's like, Barack Obama sneak dissed me, and I had to tell him I'm him.
Yeah, that man the truth.
He ain't lying.
I love that. I love that so much. Anyway, Obama was downplaying Ant's role. He was saying the team's success because there were 2 7-footers. Ant was taking the sneak dissing. He was getting little bro by the president and still gave props to Embiid. Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway.
Thank you, San Diego. Thank you very much. I thought that was you. Thank you very much. Great job you're doing. And a friend of mine, Eduardo Bolsonaro of Brazil.
Dude.
The Chamber of Deputies.
It's really cool that it is virtually all of the worst people on the planet. It's awesome. Like, if you're just a bad guy, if you suck, if you're just a bad person who sucks, okay, Donald Trump likes you, and you're a part of the network.
Thank you.
Isn't Bolsonaro going to jail? He's talking about he's not talking about Javier.
We love our first lady.
He's talking about one of the sons, I think, right?
Supporters here today, we're going to forge a new and lasting political majority that will drive American politics for generations to come. I think we're going to do fantastically well in the midterms. You know, in theory, the one that wins the
Jair. Sorry,
but I think this is going to be a change.
I said Javier. That was a racism moment for me. I apologize.
Bigger, better, stronger party than ever before.
I'm sorry.
More people in our party than ever before. But the people have given us a resounding mandate
one of them,
for dramatic change in Washington. We're going to deliver
Bolsonaro.
it. And we're going to make America great again by using it. So it's going to be something. But think of it, at the presidential level, we won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We swept all 7 swing states: Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. all by great margins. We won 85% of all of the counties in America. That means that map was red. Did you ever see the map? Did you see the certified map? Where is it? I want to see a certified map.
Yeah, you won. Do something about inflation,
red.
Trump. You can't. No, dude, he's got way more things to tackle. Okay, inflation. Excuse me. That's a patriotic price increase. Okay, what is important is dismantling the federal government. Okay, so that our corporate oligarchs can make even higher returns on their investment. Their quarterly earnings will skyrocket.
Too big to rig.
He has to make sure that the 10 trans people that are like doing shot put or whatever can no longer participate in any athletic endeavor. Okay, that's what the most significant agenda item is. Okay, for this goddamn administration.
Americans. We want all of the cities and towns along the Texas
That's why
border,
I titled today the W's of the burger wreck, because so many W's. It's W's galore, ladies and gentlemen. W's galore.
President,
so much is happening, so much winning. You're going to say, Mr. President, we never want to win again.
I said, oh, is that good? He said, it hasn't happened since Reconstruction. I said, define Reconstruction for me. He said, that means essentially the Civil War. That's a lot.
He said, define Reconstruction for me. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that historical time frame is. I just have no understanding. I don't know anything.
Hardworking citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. And I think one of the main reasons, not that we're conservative or not that we're anything else, we are the party of common sense. It's about common sense, right? It's all about common sense. Over the past month, we've confirmed an all-star team of warriors, patriots, visionaries, and put the America First agenda into action. I see Doug Burgum sitting right over there. I tell you, he was so good. I looked at him. I said, I got to have him here. I got to have him. He was a great governor. He's involved with a little thing called energy. He's got the Department of Interior, and Chris Wright has the Department of Energy. So Chris has no energy, and Doug has all of the energy. Chris has more interior, but he doesn't have. So I merged them. So now you have an energy guy, and you have the guy with all the energy, and you're going to drill, baby, drill, aren't you, huh? Drill, baby, drill. And Catherine, stand up. His wife is incredible. She is such an incredible woman. Incredible woman. You got very lucky, Doug. It's good to be successful, isn't it, Doug? She's an incredible woman. He's an incredible guy. In addition to the great cabinet secretaries we have here today, we confirm Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to end the woke insanity and rebuild our military. Pete is fantastic. Thank you. To stop the weaponization of federal law enforcement, I know about that, I think, better than any human being on earth. This week, we swore in a new director of the FBI, somebody that everybody wanted, Kash Patel.
Dude, Kash Patel is such a funny person to put in charge of the FBI. Just a truly insane guy. I haven't even fully talked about the Kash Patel stuff because, like, the vibes are so fucked. The optics are so bad. Just legitimately an insane person to put in charge of the FBI. I don't know where we're going in this next chapter of the American Empire's American Empire's final chapter is going to be an objectively weird
Health
one.
and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
He's a published children's book author, I know, and he also has the worst merch of all time and literally a QAnon guy. I cannot comprehend how we got to a point where unironically a 4chan op, okay, just a totally made up 4chan thing, broke the minds of enough boomers in the Republican base that now you got loyal supporters of this insanity leading the FBI. Fantastic stuff. Let's see where we go from here.
Oh, it's 1 in 36 babies have autism. 1 in 30.
Oh, he's doing an autism.
20,000.
Yeah, vaccines make children autistic.
36. There's something wrong. Something's wrong, and Bobby is going to find it. Working with Dr. Oz, by the way. Working with Dr. Oz. Achieved more in 4 weeks than most administrations achieve in 4 years. We made a lot of progress. I heard O'Reilly last night say Donald Trump for the first 4 weeks is the greatest president ever in the history of our country. That was O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly is all right. You know who he said second was? George Washington. That's not bad. I beat George Washington. I love beating George Washington. Thank you, Bill. On our first day in office, we declared a national emergency at our southern border. After years of politicians using our military to defend foreign borders while leaving our country defenseless and helpless, we deployed a group of people, active duty troops, to defend our border and repel the invasion of our country. This was an invasion. You know, we had a great first term, a really great first term, and I called it an invasion. And we had great numbers, but now we have the best numbers we've ever had. We've never had numbers like this. We've done it all in 4 weeks. Think of it. That was Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, the whole group. On day one, I ended catch and release. I reinstated remain in Mexico when I signed an order that will end birthright citizenship for the children of illegal aliens. Because it wasn't meant for these children. It wasn't meant for people that escaped or invaded, came into our country illegally. It was meant for the children of slaves. Because when it was done, many, many years ago, it was during a very tough period in this country's history, and that was meant for the children of slaves. I wish people would understand that so they could get this thing approved, and we don't have millions and millions of people coming into our country, and they shouldn't be here. This week, I also canceled temporary protected status for migrants from Haiti.
Fact check, please. No, he's not wrong. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. This is one of those things where, guys, I think you guys are forgetting that Donald Trump still does have like competent, intelligent people in his orbit. He knows how to repeat certain terms and certain historically accurate statements. It still doesn't change the reality, but you know, historically, what he's talking about is correct. He's using something that is historically accurate or an interpretation of history in an effort to turn around and undermine something that has been time and time again defended in terms of its I guess I was about to use the term super precedent, but it doesn't really matter anymore because so was Roe v. Wade.
I'll bet nobody knows her last name. Nobody ever knows her last name. Even during the campaign, you'd have to say Kamala. It's strange, you know, a little different name. Kamala.
Yeah. Also, destroying birthright is not appropriate in any way, shape, or form. It's like one of the only good things about this goddamn country. God, we're destroying everything that is good. Whatever remains about the United States of America that was kind of good, we're just going to dismantle. What's next? You have the right to retain a lawyer. Gone. Okay.
How to beat two? We beat two. I didn't beat. You beat.
Literally, like, there are very few things. There are very few things that make America stand out, okay? And unironically are good. You finally admitted there's something good about America. If you've been in here long enough, you've heard me say this all the time. I think freedom of speech and freedom of press is good, okay? In both principle, not unfortunately in its application in America, it's always been one-sided, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? It's a good thing. Same goes for the right to be able to retain an attorney no matter what, and that the state can provide you one if you don't have the finances to be able to retain an attorney on your own. That's a good thing, okay? Like due process, good, very good. Cutie said pack gloves, pack a hat and gloves. She wants to film the pod outside. Yeah, that's fine. I got it. Aren't even specific to America, just general liberal principles that are widely accepted across the West. No, but a lot of other Western liberal countries sometimes have weirdly worse rules around this sort of thing. Birthright is unironically one of the best parts of American society. It's like America's interpretation of immigrants, like understanding that we are a nation of immigrants, is literally one of the best aspects. That is straightforwardly one of the best parts of the United States of America. It is what has made the United States of America maintain its dominance.
Now going for the Department of Labor, and she tends to be a little bit on the slightly left of center. And everybody said, why did I do that? I said, you know why I did that? Because unions like her and labor likes her and a lot of people like her, and she's very solid, very strong, and she's going to do the right thing. But they
Why
all
is the
voted
audio
for
so
us.
low?
They didn't vote for me. They voted for us. We got the Teamsters. We got the firefighters. We got the police. We got the auto workers. We're so great. We had tremendous support. So I think it's nice to give them a person in the center, because that's what she's going to be very good, I think. But a lot of people say, why'd you do that? I said, because I want to do something nice for these people that voted for me. Oh, gee, what a great political move that was. Now they're all saying, what a great political move. No, it's all common sense. Remember that. Remember that. Sean O'Brien was fantastic.
For the birthright
whole
citizenship
group,
to
they
be
were
removed,
great.
the Supreme Court would have to
Over
rule
the
the
past few
Constitution is
weeks,
unconstitutional.
we've
It's not going to
begun the
happen.
largest deportation operation in American history, larger even than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, a very moderate man, but he was very strong on that. He didn't like people running into our country and taking over our country. I'll tell you, I had 4 years. I don't know if you had this. I couldn't stand it. Don't get angry. Donald, don't get angry, please. I couldn't stand it. Watching these people come in from jails and mental institutions and the worst criminals in the street,
That's a
gang
new
members
Donald.
being dropped off in
We got a
buses
new Donald,
and
a rare
bussed into
Donald.
our country. I couldn't stand it.
Let's go. New
So I
rare
said, I'm going to run for
Donaldism.
president again. And now we don't have that problem. Now we don't have that problem anymore.
He's amping up the rhetoric. No, he's not. He ran on this straight up.
We don't have that problem anymore. We now have the best border we've ever had. And by the way, if they can ever find my world's favorite chart ever in history, I'll show you what it was when I left. And now it's even slightly better. Can you drop that chart, do you think? I don't know. I never tell them about this, but they used to drop it like magic. If they can, they'll drop it. Who the hell knows? But it's my favorite chart. My favorite chart in history. We're liberating communities like Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio, that have been occupied by illegal alien criminals from all over the world. We're rescuing the Americans whose jobs have been stolen, whose wages have been robbed, and whose way of life has been absolutely destroyed. And under the Trump administration, our country will not be turned into a dumping ground. We're not going to do it. We're going to have a great country again. It's going to happen soon, a lot sooner than you think, and we're going to have so much money coming in from tariffs. Oh, you're going to say, your senators and your congressmen are going to say, please, sir, please. You're making us look so bad. We have so much money coming in. I didn't know this was going to happen. Please don't do this to us. We look very bad. But they're great. They're doing well. I tell you, the Republican senators they're sticking together. The Republican congressmen and women are sticking together. Every once in a while, you have one that wants a little action or something. I don't know what it is. It's so sad to see. I just hate to see it. I hate to see it. But they're sticking together. One thing about the Democrats, they have rotten, horrible policy, the worst policy in history, but they stick together. We have great policy, but sometimes they don't stick, but they've been sticking for us. They've been sticking. And I think the Speaker and the leader have done a fantastic job. That's Thune and Johnson, and I think they've done, two guys really working hard and they're really doing a great job. But we have a lot to stick with. We have a lot to stick together for, because what we've done has never been done before. Nobody's ever seen anything like this, and nobody's ever seen 4 weeks like we've had, especially the 4 weeks, the first 4 weeks. You know, that's like if you golf, when you sink that first 4-footer in the first hole, it gives you confidence on the next hole. You sink another one. Now you go into that third hole and you can't, and by the time you get to the fifth hole, you feel you can't miss, right? Like a baseball player, he gets up and he hits our first one, and then the second at bat, he hits that one. And, you know, and we have great confidence, and they've lost their confidence, as I said.
I think it's cool that we just now live in a totally separate universe. I know I've done this thing where we'll look at like Asmongold's chat while he's watching, you know, like a video game stream, and how predictably they start spamming DEI. But I'm truly fascinated with the other side of America at this point, where Donald Trump, a New York real estate billionaire fail son, rambles on and on about golf during a historic period of inflation, okay, after, defeating the Democratic Party due to the cost of living crisis and how he said he was going to fix it, only to seemingly make it worse with a lot of the insane actions they've taken so far in dismantling the administrative state. We're over here watching him ramble on and on about fucking golfing, and I'm wondering how do people who like this respond to what they are seeing? I want to see this. I want to see. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I can. Is this the correct one? No, it's not. I want to see the more. I'm morbidly curious about it.
What do we like better,
what the fuck
Crooked
is
Joe
Gold's
or
username?
Sleepy Joe? Ready? Crooked Joe or Sleepy? Ready? Crooked Joe.
Like, what is the reaction to it? Like, what are they?
Got to stay with Crooked. He had one ability that I didn't have. He could do something that I couldn't do. I don't say that because he was a horrible golfer. Remember, he challenged me during the debate to a golf match. He said, I'm a 6 handicap. I said, you're not a 36 handicap. He said, he's a 6. And then he said, well, I'm 8. Remember?
Sleepy is way better. Definitely Sleepy. Like, are they just reacting to, like, how funny Trump is? I suspect that that's what it is, right?
That was amazing. He could go with cameras on him, television, fake news on him, probably because he knows they wouldn't cover it badly.
Crooked Hillary.
As well as you can cover him.
There's a couple people in there
but he could barely walk in the sand. Somebody thought he looked great in a bathing suit.
There's a couple people in there
pulling a thing that weighed about 6 ounces. You know those aluminum? See, aluminum's very good. It's meant for children and very old people to lift, right?
Actual stand-up comedian.
Put it down, and he'd put it down, and he'd fall into it, and he'd immediately fall asleep in front of the media. I could never do that.
So I'm running out of content and has to stalk other streamers' chats. This is not even a stalking of other streamers' chats. This is a very active. I want to know how the other side operates, online especially, because I know conservatives in the real world, but I wish I could but I want to understand how conservatives in the online sphere, especially the sphere that we're in on Twitch, like what their takeaway is. This is basically an anthropological study at this stage. Okay? Do you not want to know? Are you not interested? I'm genuinely interested. This is not to like disparage people. I'm not trying to like dunk on Asmongold or his chat or anything like that. I just want to understand what their takeaway is from a speech like this one,
It's true.
I do also despise the chat hoppers that instantly went over there to fucking be annoying, so I'm going to probably shut this off.
That's true. Now Franklin Graham's angry at me.
People can't help themselves.
You know
they
that Franklin wrote me a letter. He said,
I
love your speeches. I love them. I love them so much.
You're ruining my
data. It'd be better if you would never use foul language. And I told him, I said, Franklin, Franklin Graham's a great guy, by the way, does a great job. The son of the great Billy Graham, right? But I said to Franklin, sometimes you need it for emphasis. And he said, no, they'd be even better if you wouldn't use any bad language. That's not really a terrible word, But that's a much more appropriate word, What word would I use to describe? What word could I use? And we have to be truthful, too, so
If you can't understand what people like about Donald Trump, you'll never be able to approach them and talk to them where they're at. Okay? That's what I believe. 100%.
But they said that during the Biden administration. They never said it during my administration. Venezuela's taking them back. They're all Colombia's
like most, and from what I see at a cursory glance, most of the takeaway is that they just find it incredibly, incredibly entertaining. This is cinema truthful. Bro's bringing back The Apprentice. Like, why would you better routine than most comedians, lol? I think that's what it is. A lot of people despise the Democratic Party for understandable reasons, and some of them despise the Democratic Party for lame reasons. But I think the output is still the same. He's dunking on the Dems in the way that these guys are approaching the subject. They're looking at this and they're going, oh, he's shitting on my enemies, the Dems, the liberal elite.
Biden didn't want to do and nobody wanted to do. It's true. Full might and power of the federal government.
Best speech
now
I've ever seen.
Dedicated to eradicating MS-13 Nicaragua. That's the Venezuelan prison gangs. These are very nice fellows. The only thing good about them is they make our criminals look like nice people. It's true. Remember when they used to say, people that
say
come
what you
in
want about
from
the dude he's
foreign
spitting
are nice people. These are wonderful people. These are good people. They're not murderers. They're not terrible. These people make us look like babies. Okay?
I mean, we hate the Democrats
the
here
Hells
as well,
Angels,
for the
they're
most
the
part.
nicest people on earth
But
when you compare them.
I think
And
the
Hells
reasons as to
Angels
why
actually
they
love
hate the
our
Democrats are very
country.
different than the reasons as to why we hate the Democrats. I think I would go so far as to say that my reasons for hating politicians
Their
across the
members and
board
their leaders in the
is pretty
United
valid.
States will be hunted down. I'm talking about MS-13. They're hunting them down. We removed.
He tells people what they want to hear. I don't even know if this is what people want to hear.
Rooted out, arrested, and expelled from our soil like the savage monsters that they are. We don't have anybody coming up from Argentina. Nobody's
look at
coming
this.
up from
Hells
Argentina.
Angels recruiting about the skyrocket.
To
Like, this is a
facilitate the
conservative.
mass removal of criminals.
This is a totally made up conservative meta where they think like the Hells Angels. If you want to understand like conservative consciousness, they think the Hells Angels are like good guys, right? They're like our American biker gangs because there's like a lot of television series about this shit. So they unironically think like a lot of older conservatives, and I'm surprised to see this like online as well. 99% biker gang, hunt them. Like, slay, we hunting you down, daddy. Like, all of this stuff, all of this stuff. Wait, did someone say Will Stancil? Why the fuck does this person even... It's shocking that an Asmongold chatter would know who Will Stancil is. But basically, there's this, like, conservative meta where they think that, like... Where they think that like Hells Angels are like the defenders of America against like the big bad undocumented migrant groups that are doing crime.
Yes, I terminated the Green New Scam. One of the greatest hoaxes ever played on this country is the Green New Scam. We spent trillions of dollars on this nonsense, and just a total hoax. Really set back our country, I want to tell you, monetarily and every other way. And I canceled Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate where everybody has to have an electric.
Yeah, that's real. That's definitely.
And if you
what
want an
was happening.
electric car, get an electric car. If you want a gasoline-powered car, if you want to have a hybrid, you get it. The only thing
Like
you can't
corrupt Green
do is a
New
hydrogen
Scam. Climate change is a
powered
hoax?
car. You know
Question
why?
mark.
They said it really works great, but when it doesn't
Global
work,
warming
you
isn't
never
real.
find the body.
Kona. I
It's
guess
a
like the
bad-
younger chatters probably
That's a bad
believe
sign.
global
when
warming.
it doesn't work, they found the body on a tree about 250 yards up the road. It's seriously bad. So we'll leave hydrogen out of it for a little while, I think, or maybe permanently. I'd say permanently. Inflation by slashing spending. I imposed freeze, a federal regulation freeze, and a foreign aid freeze. We're given
For
to
the people
countries
who
that
ask,
hate
how
us.
do we reach these guys? How do we reach the right wing and change their minds?
And I signed an
It's
order
pretty
creating
simple. You just have to wait because inevitably Donald Trump's actions are going to harm them directly. And in that moment where they recognize that harm, there's only two ways out of it. Either they double down and engage in cultish behavior and engage in cultish thinking, and many will, or someone approaches them with a helping hand, okay? Someone approaches them with a helping hand and says, like, you want to know who the real people are that's fucking you over? It's all of Trump's allies, all these rich people, okay? The issue, however, is that there is no competent Democratic Party right now that is actively doing that because they have the same exact corporate benefactors. Like, Democrats love the rich guys as well. So they can't actually launch or mount any sort of significant opposition from a true populist perspective. Oh.
$1 billion, $520 million. You know, when I
And
hired
without that,
consultants and they
Without that,
take advantage of me. It's a horrible thing to watch, and I give him.
without that, this is truly an opportunity. This is truly an opportune moment in all of this crisis. Okay, I think that in this moment of crisis, where Americans will recognize that even under the Trump leadership, their lives haven't gotten better, because you can't fix that. Like, lies will not change the fact that you're still struggling. Lies and your attention being laser focused on trans people or Guatemalan migrants or whatever won't change the reality that you're having issues with paying rent still. But Trump is now president, and he said everything was going to get better, but it's not happening. Now, in that circumstance, if you don't have a competent party that uses that to correctly change people's attention, to correctly shift people's attentions and priorities back to the real centers of pain, billionaires, the oligarchy, corporations, okay, and utilize true left-wing economic populist messaging and actively try to push for an agenda that will radically change the trajectory of American empire and radically change the trajectory of the United States, these people are just simply going to double down. They're going to get more angry and more resentful. And they're going to think, oh, the problem is we just simply haven't killed enough Guatemalans. You know what I mean? We simply haven't done enough deportations. Why haven't we done enough deportations? Well, because we haven't done enough deportations because the Democrats are probably stopping us from doing all the deportations. Or we simply have to up the ante. We simply have to be even more violent, right? That's what I fear. I fear that in this moment of crisis, okay, what? I asked a questionable trans people and they made some incredible arguments. Your Discord is amazing. What are you saying? I just shut up. I have no idea what you're trying to say, okay? In this moment of crisis, there's only one figure that I've seen on the Democratic Party side that has, which is ironically, he's an independent technically, but Bernie Sanders is the only person I've seen that is like aligned with the Democrats that has been actively trying to tackle this issue. And I don't even agree with most of his foreign policy, but it doesn't matter. Okay, on the issue of domestic affairs, like he's actively trying to tackle it, and it seems like he's garnering a lot of support and a lot of attention. And yet the Democrats are still avoiding that reality. They're still refusing to take a look at what's going on here. Look, Face Shocker says, I've helped Bernie Sanders for years pulling together his political events. Today is the first in many ways. We had two different large overflow crowds in Iowa City. One of the overflows was so large that it was bigger than the original theater he came to speak at. Like, it is obvious that a lot of people, and these are older people. These are older white Democrats. Older white Democrats at the heart of the Democratic Party's base of voters are unironically looking at the situation and thinking, okay, something's got to change. Okay? This much enthusiasm with 1 degree wind chill temperatures while every other politician in America is getting tomatoes thrown at them anytime they're in public. Look, it's not too late, but you need to stop listening to the people who told you this guy's movement was the wrong way. Like, it's obvious. This is real. This is a very real thing.
Over 110 years. 3.47 million people who are over 120 years of age. 3.9 million.
No, I'm not saying Bernie as the figure is the reason why he's drawing these crowds. I mean, yes, his track record plays a role in this. His favorables play a role in this. But it's not just Bernie. It's the fact that his message is being broadly received as a positive, even from the ranks of the Democratic Party's base of support, like their most loyal base of support. And it's not just his message, it's also his earnest delivery, because he has, regardless of the insane amount of attacks that he's received throughout his career, he has stayed the course. Okay? Bernie ain't too old if he's walking and talking just fine. I mean, come on, guys. He's 90. Like, that's crazy. He's 90 years old. I'll still vote for him. I don't care. But, like, let's be real. Okay?
And we have one person listed at 360 years of age, an all-time record, and our country's 250 years old.
Older than the USA.
So that person's substantially older than our country. Under our administration, there will be no tolerance for Social Security fraud. We will not allow anyone to cheat our seniors and those who will do that.
They
will
love
be
this
prosecuted
shit.
by Pam Bondi and
I think a lot of people just love this shit. They just look at this and they go, "This is amazing." Like, there's a guy in there that said, "People need to understand. You guys need to understand how much he accomplished in his first term and got zero credit / publicity for. He's clearly making a prioritization to talk about his efforts and accomplishments this time around."
the gold
Wait,
is
what is
still
he saying?
there.
Oh, I thought he was responding. Why won't he form the Labor Party with some strong caretakers to go forward after? I hear Hasanabi is a slave to his chat. Yes, I am. I'm enslaved by my chat. That's why I always yell at my chat. And I let, unlike other people, I let you chat in here as long as you followed for 10 minutes. You don't even have to pay for a subscription. And yet people still subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime, of course.
Open the door, we'll say,
And even give subs. I don't even have a subscriber-only chat.
In this country, and we're finding them out. We're removing all of the unnecessary, incompetent, and corrupt bureaucrats from the federal workforce. That's what we're doing. And under the buyouts, we offered federal
Virtual meal. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Inked in blood.
Federal bureaucrats, think of that.
Travacall, thank you for the 5 gifted
voluntarily
subs.
agreed to surrender their taxpayer-funded jobs. We want to make government smaller, more efficient. We want to keep the best people, and we're not going to keep the worst people. And, we're doing another thing. If they don't report for work, we're firing them. In other words, you have to go to office. Right? Right? Look at her.
What happened at the top of the hour ad breaks, by the way?
If you don't
My
report to
contract ended.
That's
So
another scam.
I no longer run any ads.
Who the hell, if I'm staying home, I'm going to, let's see, my golf handicap would get down to.
Consistent with President Trump's instructions, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they've gone. Yeah, we already covered this earlier, but failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. Understand what they've got done last week.
I'd call up, I'd say, listen, I'm really working here.
Is that because you don't want to be an echo chamber? Yes, I want to understand the other side. I do this all the time. That's why I have a concept called like hog watch. You know what I mean? I obviously, in order to better message to all Americans, you have to understand what like the Trump dick riders are thinking, why they like him so much, what is so captivating about him. God from fault. Thank you for the 10 community gifted subs. Deadly Tesseract, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. I think it's important to understand where the other side is coming from.
And Border Patrol, beautiful. And at the ultra-left CFPB, which was terrible. So many people have been hurt by that.
Hey, I'm just curious, but your fun day streams are always about politics. Isn't that basically the same as your regular streams? Much love, hustle. Yes, obviously, when the president is currently speaking at CPAC, I think it's important to hear what he has to say. I'm a political commentator after all. So yes, I do start off with a little bit of politics on Saturday as well. It's a live speech, and then I move on to other shit.
I'm an Indian. She said, could we see proof of that, please? She said, well, the only proof I have is my mother said I have high cheekbones. Oh, that's no good, right? Remember she went out? I really spooked her, I tell you. Remember she went out, she couldn't take it anymore. She was calling her Pocahontas, Pocahontas. Everyone knew she was not an Indian.
I really do think that, looking at, on a cursory glance of Asmongold's chat, it does make me feel like it's just purely entertainment. Like, they just think he's fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? They just straight up think he's killing it. Like, he's doing killer bits. That's it. I don't think there's a lot of interest in like the actual policy behind it. I don't think that there's any. I don't know if that's because of the way Asmongold covers it, because I'm unfamiliar with the way he covers Donald Trump. Maybe he just says like, oh, it's pure entertainment. It's pure entertainment. It's so funny. He's so based. Maybe that's the reason why the community is reflecting the opinion of the streamer in that regard. Or maybe it's because that is truly what they derive out of the Trump administration. Like, they just think it's content. And I guess if you're like a stay-at-home NEET or whatever and not a fucking federal government employee whose job is on the line, then yeah, he is just entertainment. It's like the opposite side of the liberal part of the equation, the upper middle class liberal, professional managerial class liberals who don't have much to lose. And you're still this charitable to Asmon in his chat? No, dude, I'm not a fucking idiot, and I want to understand where people are coming from. If you are going to be this resentful, and if you're going to operate on the notion that like me trying to make an assessment on what people like about Donald Trump is seemingly a bridge too far, like and that I should be advocating to say that they're all fucking Nazis and they should immediately be sent to the gulags. Like, I don't know what to tell you, okay? I think it's very fucking important to understand why there is so much momentum in Trump's direction. Okay? If you don't understand it, then you can never address it. If you don't understand the problem, if you refuse to understand the problem, if you refuse to understand what this fucking dipshit's saying is, why that is like being perceived in such a positive way, then you'll never be able to solve this issue. Isn't a faulty premise to guess that people have any interest in policy? 99% of people are vibes only. I think so. I think there's a big part of that. I mean, look. There are a lot of people that simply don't vote for either party. There's a multitude of different reasons as to why they don't vote for either party. Obviously, the Electoral College plays a big role in this, but the inaction and the lack of the belief that people have that the Democrats are not really doing anything for them or the Republicans are not doing anything for them is plays a big role in this, okay? But for the people that do vote, 80% of them vote simply for partisan reasons, okay? At least that's what empirical evidence shows. 80% of people vote simply because their parents voted that way, simply because they've always voted that way, yada, 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 okay? Then there's the 20% of people that vote for policy-related reasons, okay? Policy-related reasons. And those 20% that vote for, I guess, like, or ideological reasons beyond policy, or not beyond policy, but ideological reasons that pertain to policy. That's it. 20%. That's it. And there are a tremendous number of individuals out there that simply don't vote at all. So, of course, a lot of the people that do vote on partisan grounds, and it's simply team sport for them. And lo and behold, for many of those people that do go out and vote on purely team sport related reasons, yeah, the stakes are low for them, both on the liberal side and the Republican side, both on the Democrat side and the Republican side. The stakes are low because they're in the upper crust, okay? They're in the top 10%. They have homes. They're older, right? They have their nest egg. When you start looking at who doesn't vote, you start to recognize that it's mostly poor people that don't vote. It's the most marginalized people in society that don't actually end up voting. You forgot about racism as well? No, I put racism into the ideological camp as well. Adrian is online. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. I think it's interesting to understand. Yes, they're openly just consumers. Everything is content and means nothing. Asman himself repeats how nihilistic his worldview is constantly. They want to sit at home and jack off the teenage anime girls with big boobs on their favorite video games, and acting that way is seen as a virtue. If Asman has an ideology, is hyper-hedonistic consumerism above all else. I mean, yeah. But it's not just Asman. I think it's just Americans in general. When they have nothing else, and the only thing they have is consumption of commodities, because that's what America is, then yeah, the things that you consume define you. Whether it be, teenage anime girls with big titties, or whether it be guns for many people, right? Because that's still a commodity. It's a very significant identity marker, and that's all political battles are basically fought on those boundaries. There is no real material impact, and that's how the team sports are defined, basically. And that's why you see a lot of liberals who would actively go after what kind of content you're consuming. You know what I mean? What kind of content you're consuming says a lot about your morality. Oh, you're watching the bad content and not the good content. That means like you're a bad person. All this stuff. It's completely meaningless. Okay?
Now we're bringing them down to 15% if you make your product in the United States of America. We're defending the American worker like never before, and that's why the auto workers and the union workers and the Teamsters and so many others, they supported us, the firemen, the policemen, so many others, whether they were union or non-union, they all supported us. They supported, it's called workers. They supported us at levels that nobody's ever seen before. Weeks ago, I imposed a 10% tariff on all goods coming from China. Because
people have both views of your viewers. It's nutty how perspective affects all that. What do you mean?
Mexico, or I'm not happy with Canada.
You can't make voting compulsory in a country that doesn't have a federal holiday for voting. That's ridiculous. Americans, regardless of party affiliation, have, like, both parties have always been very upset at the prospect of every single person having to vote. They don't want everybody to vote. Let's make no mistake. That's why you can't make voting compulsory in this country. That's why you can't even make it a fucking national, you can't make it even a federal holiday to go out and vote.
Very rich. I always say it's my favorite word in the dictionary. The word tariff is my favorite word in the dictionary. You know, we were the richest relatively from, think of this, from 1870 to 1913. That was our richest because we collected tariffs from foreign countries that came in and took our jobs and took our money, took our everything. But they charged tariffs, and we had so much money, they set up the 1887. Think of that, a long time ago. 1887 Tariff Commission. It was a commission of very important people to determine where we should spend all of the tremendous, vast wealth that we had. We had so much wealth. Wouldn't it be nice today? Of course, now we give it away to transgender this, transgender that.
Yeah,
Everybody
that's what's
gets
happening.
a transgender
Let's see how they react to that one.
Wonderful.
They took our jobs.
No, we give it away like to crazy things. But in those days, it was different. It was a different world. It was a different country. But we were very rich because of tariffs. He said it. And I get myself in trouble because I say that tariff is my favorite word, and the fake news went crazy.
Yeah.
What about
it's bro? It's like a flashbang, dude. It's like jiggling keys in front of a fucking baby. That's what it is. He just says transgender, and everybody just lasers in on that, not realizing that he's like hyping up a time where there was, like, until now, peak income inequality that led to absolute devastation, economic devastation. You know, we're talking about the Great Depression here, under positive terms. Think about that. Like, what led to the Great Depression and he's talking about that era as a positive, when we unironically have more instability and more economic inequality now than we did back then.
The greatest, I rebuilt our entire military in the first term. We left a lot of it.
He could just be like, robber barons are so good. They're wealth providers and job makers. You are all servile. And everybody, and then as long as he ties it up with, like, and transgenders, we're gonna kill them, everybody be like, hell yeah, based. He's so funny. He said it.
When I see that, angry. When I see that, I get angry. We give them. I don't think anyone knows this. We give Afghanistan about $2 or $2.5 billion a year. Do you know that? For aid. We need aid ourselves. We give. And I'm going to go back, and I told
Deborah
them yesterday,
loved that one. Deborah lost her mind at that. That Debrussy. Okay. The Debrussy is cackling.
Give us back our military equipment that they have. They're selling it. Doug, would you take that, please? All right? Write something up. No, I want them to give back. If we're going to give them that kind of money, let them give back the military equipment, which they have. They have tanks and trucks and guns and goggles. They have goggles. They have night goggles. Better than we have, brand new right out of the box. It's unbelievable. So I want to do that, and I want if we're going to pay him, I want to get that equipment back, okay? Doug can do it. He's one of the guys. He's a business guy. To him, he's sitting there saying, how the hell did this ever happen, right? Can you believe it? We give them billions of dollars, and we gave them our military equipment. Just tremendous numbers of billions of dollars worth of military, billions and billions. We have a ceasefire in Gaza, and we're joined today by several survivors of the captivity under Hamas, including Noah Argamani and Ilana Gretovsky. Wow, look at that, how beautiful. What a beautiful group of people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you're sitting next to a great guy, Sebastian Gorka, who's also now in the administration. From day one, right, Sebastian? He's been a loyalist from day one. We love Sebastian. Thank you very much, Sebastian. Thank you, everybody. That's very nice. Beautiful. We're going to make it work somehow, We're doing the best we can. We started. It should have never happened. That's the sad part. It would have never happened. If I were president, and I should have been, if I were president, it would have never happened. But it did, so we're doing the best we can with it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Also with us are family members of some individuals who are still hostages and we will not rest until all of the hostages have been returned back home. Some of them are coming home in very bad condition, and some of them are coming home only as bodies. They're dead. We have a lot of them coming home now. They're dead.
They never cut from Trump, even when he's talking about other people. Every other production would cut away from him to show who he's talking about, but not here.
Like this, but they're dead. And the parents come to me and they say, "Please, sir, could you get my son back?" "How old is he?" "Sir, my son is dead." It's important, just as important as if that son were alive, to get the body back. It's amazing, actually. Amazing. Just as important.
Yeah, I watched the hostage release earlier, which was crazy. The hostage release, Hamas not only has the drug that makes you dab up Hamas, they also now have a drug that makes you kiss Hamas. Yes, I saw that. They did it. They found even a newer drug. Previously, they had only unveiled their drug that makes you dab up Hamas. Now they got one that makes you kiss them. It's crazy.
A little glimmer of hope, and I say let them have that hope, right? Let them have that hope. But getting the body back is just as important as getting the son back healthy or the daughter back healthy. It's amazing to see when I see the level of intensity and love,
Elon Musk,
and sorrow and tragedy. As I said in my inaugural address, it's my hope that my greatest legacy will be as a peacemaker,
mind control techniques,
not a conqueror. I don't want to be a conqueror.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Under the Trump administration, every day brings more good news for America. I've ended all of the so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion
they don't believe
programs.
it. They don't.
Job has been deleted. They're gone. They're fired.
As soon as he swapped it over to DEI, they love it, though. As soon as they swapped it over to DEI, they love it. DEI is being deleted. Hell
United
yeah.
States government that there are only two genders, male and female. That was easy.
My God.
I banned men from competing in women's sports. And I also proudly banned the use of...
It's just fucking, it's jiggling keys in front of a baby. Straight up. It's straight up that.
Hormone injections and other chemical and surgical mutilation of your youth. Could you imagine making a speech like this 10 years ago? People would say, what the hell is he talking about, right? This is a sickness that came along with critical race theory and all of that.
Yeah, it's like the
other things that we had to put up with.
It is like the Family Guy clip where Lois Griffin is saying 9/11, but instead of 9/11, he's just going DEI, DEI, and then everybody goes, "This is fucking amazing."
We've turned the heads of even the people that, if you can believe they're believers, I don't know if they were, but I believe that it's all gone. And I've directed the reinstatement of any service member who was expelled from the armed forces due to the COVID vaccine mandate. They will be returned to their former rank with full back pay. Full back pay. I banned government censorship from your voices and brought back free speech in America. We have free speech. We didn't have free speech. We do have it now, actually. Now, this was a very vicious regime, you know. I was put under investigation more so than the late, great Alphonse Capone, one of the great killers of the world. Trump, my father would look down my mother. How the hell did this happen to my boy? This wasn't... No, I was under investigation at a far greater level than Al Capone or anybody else, probably in the history of our country. These people are sick. They're sick. They're bad people. I ended Joe Biden's weaponization as soon as I got in. I said, I'm going to hit him with the same stuff. But I ended his whole weaponization of our government and removed his hand-picked radical left Marxist prosecutors from the Department of Justice. I was so happy to do that. They weaponized government. They weaponized government. I pardoned hundreds and hundreds of Biden's political prisoners, including Christians, pro-life activists, and the J6 hostages who were treated terribly for years. We even got rid of people like Pete Buttigieg, who did the worst job of anybody in the history of transportation. The security clearances of Anthony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, John Brennan, James Clapper, and every non-patriot who lied to cover up Hunter Biden's laptop from hell. We took away their security clearance.
How dare you? How dare you come after Pete, who kept all of the planes in the sky from falling like shooting stars? Okay? That's crazy. Pete Buttigieg protected us with his gay powers.
Secrets while selling themselves all around the world. Oh, well. Now, these were bad people. These were bad people. And because this should never be allowed to happen again. What happened to me in this administration, what happened on J6, what happened on all of the things they did that were so bad, should never, ever be allowed to happen again. And on a friendlier note, I renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
What are they saying? W.
And we are restoring
Cinema.
the name
W.
of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley in Alaska. And as you know, many years ago, Jimmy Carter gave away the Panama Canal. And Panama started the process of giving the Panama Canal, by the way, the most expensive development ever in the history of our country, relatively. It would have been $1.5 trillion in today's dollars. 38,000 people died from our country building the Panama Canal. They died from mosquitoes and snakes. Think of it. They paid them 5 times their salary. They brought them to Panama, and they had a 25% chance of dying. They dug under nets so the mosquitoes wouldn't get them. But we lost 38,000, mostly men, laborers, construction workers, because it was such a harsh way to live.
What a president.
38,000. Again, it was the most expensive thing we ever built, and they gave it away for
TDS sufferers can't be blamed. Their affliction prevents logical thought and reasoning. Sad they can't be helped from themselves.
One of the most successful projects ever built in terms of money, monetarily, and it's the 8th wonder of the world. It connects 2 oceans, with one being 16 feet higher than the other. Think of it, the Pacific and the Atlantic. Think of what that is. You're going through dikes and canals. Amazing what they did. It was really a wonder of the world. We gave it away for nothing.
We're so cooked, dude.
But we didn't give it to China.
We're fucking cooked.
We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama. We're going to take back the Panama Canal.
It's over, dude.
In a matter of weeks, we have restored America's pride, America's confidence, and America's spirit.
Tell the truth, not enough hogs in your chat. That's why you need to look at Asmon's. Yes, this is 100% correct. Because back in the day, because Asmongold wasn't a political commentator, there wasn't a space for hogs to go to, so they would come here. And I think that was important in informing my perspective about like what they were paying attention to and what they were getting, you know, like what they were focusing on. And now the hogs are gone. They all left because they want their own hug box. They want their own echo chamber. And it's ironically turned this community more into an echo chamber. And I don't like that. So now I'm looking at where the hogs are to try to fucking understand where they're coming from. I need to do this. Okay. I'm an anthropologist. Okay. I'm a hog here. I enjoy the seething. Amazing. See, this is what I mean. Thank you for being here. Please. This is a safe space for you. I promise. Okay. Why did you scare him off? I didn't. Like I don't think you guys understand the reason why I look at mostly right-wing content and cover mostly like right-wing fascinations is because I need to understand it better. I need to understand where they're coming from. I have commended him on being a turd brain wrangler for many years. That's why I never wanted him banned. When he's online, the chats are better across the board. It's kind of like Australia. Yeah, but I'm fine with this not being a, you know, I'm fine with this place being more chaotic. If that means we can develop a better understanding, if we can develop a better understanding of where right-wingers are coming from, what they actually enjoy, you know, what they find good about Donald Trump, like then, you know, I can be a more effective communicator.
Competence, those days are over. They're over.
Careful what you wish for, bro.
But we cannot stop now. We're going to push forward every single day. In the immortal words of that great American hero.
This is your fault with our effective moderation?
Captain
no, not necessarily.
John Paul Jones, I have not yet begun to fight.
Do you think people hate you if you talk to people like Asmongold? I don't give a shit, dude. People already hate me.
And neither have you.
People already hate me. Who cares?
So together for the next 4 years, We are going to stand strong. We are going to work hard. We are going to fight, 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 and win, win, win. Thank you to CPAC. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. God bless America. Thank you very much.
He won't. He won't.
God bless America. Thank you.
He's too much of a New York lib to hit the salute, dude. Okay? He's too much of a New York lib to hit that salute. I don't think what chuds like about Trump is any more complicated than what they liked about the school bully in middle school. I don't think a lot of people like the school bully in middle school. Unfortunately, I've interacted with terminally online hogs before, even befriended one who was terminally online and poverty-stricken former laborer who was disabled from back problems. I even tried to connect with him with resources. He started attacking me. He finally pissed me off enough to cut him off. Apparently, Javier Milei also hit the Nazi salute. Is that correct? That's what people were saying. Double stroke is the new salute. Yeah, the double dick suck. He loves that. He loves the double dick suck. So, oh, the Mexican guy hit the salute. Eduardo Verastegui. I don't know how to say his last name. Brother, I came into your stream yesterday and you were watching political stuff. Now today you are still watching it. It will rot your brain. Have a break. Maybe watch SpongeBob or something. I agree. But yeah, we have a severe case of lack of hogs. So much so that like our hogs have basically become like annoying party loyalist liberals who just will actively advocate for the Democratic Party in ways that the Democrats don't even. Should I move to Norway while I'm still married? Or what? Is this country cooked? I think this country is very cooked. Yes. But I don't think that the problem with this country being cooked is that you can't necessarily escape America. Like you can't go to like Norway to escape America. You know what I mean? America will still find a way. Even in places like Norway. Trumpism is a insane. You know what I view Trumpism and like right-wing sentiment in the way that these guys actually talk about quote unquote woke, right? Where a lot of people will be like, oh, woke mind virus, like, but unironically, reactionary thoughts are exactly like that, where it opens up a door in your mind, basically, where if you view any issue from this lens, it slowly but surely seeps into other avenues. You start thinking illogically on everything, okay? And it's almost comforting when you engage with it that way, where it basically ties everything that you see around the world with a neat little bow. You know, everything is caused by DEI, trans people, black people, gay people. That's what's truly interesting about that. Yeah, here, this is the joke this is the meme basically. Here, this is what Trump does with DEI.
Try giving short, simple answers.
Mrs. Griffin, what do you plan to do about crime in our city?
A lot. Because that's what Jesus wants. 9/11 was bad.
I agree with that. What are your plans for cleaning up our environment?
9/11.
What about our traffic problem?
9/11.
That's it. That's conservatism to a T. That is straight up exactly what Donald Trump is doing. And yet people do not understand it. They are resentful. They are angry. They despise the way politics operates in this country. And there's very good reason for them to feel this level of resentment. The problem, on the other hand, is that one party, the Democrats, do not actively say, yeah, you know who's fucking you over? It's the wealthy. You know who's fucking you over? Capitalism and the way the society is designed around it. They don't say that, okay? Because they also have the same exact corporate benefactors. On the other hand, the Republicans will actively move your attention away from the truly harmful parts of society to people with nothing, the most vulnerable populations. They'll say Democrats care a lot about trans people, gay people, black people, Guatemalans, Haitians, yada, yada, yada. And people love that shit. They go, oh, well, I'm angry. And what a perfect narrative for me. I'm angry. And I'm angry at people that don't look like me. I'm angry at people that I have perceived as my enemy. It's just like, you're like a primate, you know? It's ape thinking, okay? It's ape-like thinking. You're operating like a goddamn animal at that point. What is this? Me after one Hasanabi stream be like?
Excuse me, Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the devil, and the government is lying about 9/11. Christmas is a pagan holiday. Jesus probably hates you for celebrating it.
Ain't gonna be no Scrooges in this house, boy.
Sir, would you like to hear about how the government wants you dead by 62 so you can't collect on Social Security? There ain't no such thing as a tooth fairy.
Why did they lie to me?
Because the truth hurts, Jasmine. The world is a hard and lonely place, and you want to know what else? One day, you and everyone you know is gonna die.
All our thinking is ape thinking. We be apes, bro. Yeah, but, you know, we have a little bit more than ape-like thinking. Dave Rubin and Piers get cooked by a leftist in his new vid. Yeah, Gary's Economics, the guy that we were watching before, who's like a successful trader, went on Piers Morgan's show and just clapped Dave Rubin, which isn't necessarily that difficult of a feat, isn't necessarily that impressive, but I do like that, you know, things like that are happening. I watched some pieces of that.
To join the Elon Musk and President Trump's movement. My heart goes out to all of you.
Yo, this shit ain't cute, man. Like, it's not. It's not cute at all. I don't know why people are like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? It's wild how quickly. It is wild how quickly this shit spreads. Okay? When the age of lean in means being a Nazi, yeah. Bannon did it too. Steve Bannon did it as well. Like, Elon Musk hitting it unironically made it, you know, made it permissible. Like, it made it so that you do that. It's important. Check my logs, please. I'm willing to bet it's not important. And if it's not important, I'm going to ban you. In Mexico, is the Sieg normal? And they do it at inaugurations and stuff. Shine Bomb, the best girlie, did it. Wait, what? I think this person doing it after saying my heart goes out to you like this is directly a nod to Elon Musk. Okay? 100%. This person is doing it as a way to be like, look, just like Elon Musk, I'm saying my heart goes out to you. They know what it is, okay? They know exactly what it is. They're doing it this way specifically so that they can make a nod. There is no reason to debate this, okay? I think it's a very stupid thing to debate. And these guys love it when we debate it because they're like, look at how fucking stupid they are. Yeah, of course we're hitting the Sig Heil. And the dummies on the fucking left side are going back and forth on whether or not it's actually a fucking Sig Heil. Dude, why do you think he said, my heart goes out to you and then hit it? Only in Honores a la Bandera. This is not the same thing, by the way. Yeah, this is the Jean-Paul Sartre quote. Never believe that anti-Semites are completely unaware of the absurdity of their replies. They know that their remarks are frivolous, open to challenge, but they are amusing themselves, for it is their adversary who is obliged to use words responsibly, since he believes in words. The anti-Semites, on the other hand, have the right to play. They even like to play with discourse, for, by giving ridiculous reasons, they discredit their seriousness of their interlocutors. They delight in the acting in bad faith, since they seek not to persuade by sound argument, but to intimidate and disconcert. If you press them too closely, they will abruptly fall silent, loftily indicating by some phrase that the time for argument is past. This is obviously the case for anti-Semites. It's the similar thing that happens all the time with debate lords in general as well, where these guys are nihilistic. If you're nihilistic, you're overpowered in the field of debate, okay? Someone who actually cares about the issues that he speaks on is a fucking loser, because they can get emotional. They actually care about the issues that they're talking about. You, on the other hand, can be out of touch. You, on the other hand, can turn around and just, you know, argue from any side of an issue when you see fit. You can lie. You can obfuscate the truth. It has no meaning for you. The very fact that you are now entertaining this conversation means that the other side has won, okay? And that's precisely what's going on with all these people that are doing the subtle nod to the Sig Heil. A normal person would be trying to not look like a Nazi if they weren't Nazis and everyone was calling them Nazis, but they keep Sig Heiling. It's intentional. Exactly. Like, a lot of these people, including Asmongold's chat as well, it's just like, you know, the online right, personally do this kind of thing because it's fun for them, because it's a what are you going to do about it moment, okay? That's all it is. That's all this is. And in that process, when they keep pushing it over and over and over again, okay, and you find yourself in this weird, you find yourself in this like weird moment where you're just like going back and forth with a dude who like thinks it's okay to do this kind of thing and doesn't really care about it. Whether they are an ideologically committed Nazi or not, it doesn't fucking matter. They're doing it specifically to be like, I don't care about this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it just so you get pissed off. Some people do it because they obviously are ideologically committed to the Nazi project. Other people do it specifically because they want to be like, yeah, I really pissed you off, didn't I? Aren't you triggered? Aren't you destroyed? Here's my epic troll. That's it. That's all this is. Okay? That's all this is. That's all that's happening right now. Yeah. In many ways, it's just like the most annoying person in your group of friends when you were growing up. Okay? It's basically that. Do you understand? It's like the I'm not hitting you. Why are you hitting yourself over and over again? Or it's the I'm not touching you. I'm just in your face. What are you going to do about it? That's what this is. Except the playground bullies have virtually all the power. The other people here, we exhibited a similar tendency from liberals when they were talking about how the Houthis go and learn today during Operation Save Amazon Prime, Operation Prosperity Guardian, the $1 billion money sink that blew up Sana'a and numerous other parts of Yemen that amounted to basically nothing. The only thing that actually stopped the Houthis from overtaking boats and implementing a blockade was the ceasefire, right? We wasted a fucking $1 billion. In that process, what did liberals do? They said, American military is hard-dicked. It's mighty. It's powerful. It's awesome. And we will dominate you. We will dominate you peasants, okay? Now, if you're a random ass dude, okay, upper middle class dude living in fucking America, why do you care if the American military is dominating some of the poorest people on the planet, okay, who with the very limited resources that they have are trying to make an impact in the positive direction, okay? Why? It's because you're powerless. You're powerless, but the American military is powerful. So by definition, when the American military is doing powerful things, that makes you feel powerful. It's a similar predicament to how, you know, in the Reconstruction era, white people that never actually owned slaves or didn't necessarily have a lot of didn't have a lot of financial opportunities still felt as though they were above black people. It reminds me of the LBJ quote, you know, when you have nothing, when you have no power whatsoever, when you're constantly angry, you look to others that have less than you and match up against them to make yourself feel powerful. Okay? And that's precisely what these guys are doing as well. The people that take a lot of joy out of all of the things that Trump engages in. People that actually find so much tremendous joy in quote unquote owning the libs and like DEI is being ousted or whatever. It's because they just have nothing. They have nothing. And they feel like their resentment is being expressed by Donald Trump. They want to feel like the government is moving in a direction that is positive. Anyway, Steve Bannon on Jordan Bardella's CPAC cancellation over Nazi salute. He's a little boy. If he cancels because of what the mainstream press says about my speech, he's not fit to lead France. Yes, after Steve Bannon hit the Nazi salute, Jordan Bardella canceled his CPAC appearance. Okay.
Yeah, for the French media. Hi. Jordan Bardella canceled his intervention today.
He's unworthy. If he canceled it over what the mainstream media said about the speech, he didn't listen to the speech. If that's true, he's unworthy to lead France.
Yeah, it's because the nationalists are trying to actively make themselves seem like the normal party. That's it. The Nationalist Party is trying to move away from being like the far right, being perceived as a far right party. And in many ways, because of Macron's capitulation to the anti-immigrant sentiment and anti-Islam sentiment in France, the far right party has become like, or at least the things that they're advocating for have become the normative position of many French people. That's it. That is the real reason why they also actively avoided aligning with the AfD, for example. It's not anti-Islam. What? Yeah. Le Pen party try to keep mainstream far-right ideology? They do, and they have. They have successfully done so. Their politics have become the politics of the center, especially when you think about the immigration stuff and anti-Islam stuff. Like, that is literally Macron's position, straight up. So they're trying to take advantage of that by because the Overton window is like firmly slanted to the right, to the far right on the stuff because of the centrists and the centrist capitulation. They are trying to, there are parties further to the right than they are, okay? And they're basically trying to say like, no, we are the new moderates. We are the new middle. What is this? It's not anti-Islam. It's people from Islamic culture, but Muslims are chill. Thanks, man. Yeah, no, you're right. It's not. Muslims are chill. It's just that their culture is horrifying and barbaric. You're right. Yeah. When Macron was talking about banning all matter of like Muslim garb, including, but not just the hijab, but just like shit that people wear from countries that have Muslim populations, and directly said it's because it's a scary thing, that he was actually, the Kufi, he was just actually not being anti-Islam. He was just against Islamic culture. This is precisely what I was talking about, by the way. This is what I was referencing when I said, like, this is completely normalized. Like, this sentiment is being repeated by centrists as well, right? That means it's normal. I'm just trying to explain to you why the Nationalist Party in France is trying to avoid being aligned with the AFD, okay? And also why they are trying to stay away from, even Steve Bannon hitting the Nazi salute, because they want to be seen as like a normal right-wing party.
A boy, not a man. Okay, he's a boy, not a man. So if he took what the mainstream media said, I did that exact same wave at Front National 7 years ago when I gave a speech to them. Okay, if he's that worried about it and wets himself like a little child, then he is unworthy and will never lead France.
Was it a Nazi salute?
No, it's a wave. It's a wave like I did all the time. I did.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a Nazi salute. Come on, it was a wave. Yeah, again, entertain the conversation, please. I would never do that.
I did it in Front National 7 or 8 years ago.
Jordan Bardella is part Algerian, and he was a teacher of migrants a few years ago. He's not really a radical at heart. Yes, he's the face of the nationalist movement. He is supposed to be the more appropriate face because he doesn't have Le Pen's stink associated with it, okay? Because Le Pen's lineage is straight up Nazis and Nazi collaborators. So he is supposed to be the younger face of the party because the party, despite retaining a lot of the nationalist and pro-Nazi attitudes that they have, are actively trying to redefine themselves and promote themselves as though they are simply reasonable nationalists. Like, what? We just want to protect France. Okay? That's it. Like, Bardella is, well, what? He's the TikTok guy, isn't he? He's like the young TikTok version. And he's just the face of the party. Just like I would suspect that in the AFD, the face of the party being a blonde lesbian woman with a Sri Lankan wife that she claims is just simply a roommate, is not the actual representative of the party and its feelings. The representative of the party and the true feelings are captured by that neo-Nazi historian guy, okay, Hucka. That's the real face of the AFD, okay? But the fake, forward-presenting face of the AFD in Germany is, a seemingly more moderate person, even though she's not really moderate at all. Thugs from Islamic culture aren't Muslim. That's what I mean. Islam promotes peace and respect. Thugs from Islamic culture aren't Muslim. That's what I mean. What are you talking about, dude? What do you mean thugs from Islamic culture? What are you saying? The Muslim roadmans.
At the end of all my speeches to thank the crowd.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
But no, I want to be quoted. He's a little boy, not a man, and only men or women of...
Yeah, only men and women will be brave enough to be able to hit the Nazi salute. I think this is a long shot, but have you ever considered inviting Asmongold to LA to meet actual social activists, real SJWs, and to culture him a little? Sorry to go back to Asmon. No, I haven't thought about that because I think that even a normal conversation with Asmongold at this stage is completely lost. Okay? There was a point in time when that could have happened, but I think that he does not care. I'll be honest. I don't think he is a convincible person. I think he doesn't necessarily care. He's nihilistic about his approach to politics. It's just content. It's pure content. And it's also pure content that actively gives him a massive fan base. Why the fuck would you stop doing that if you're, if the only thing you care about is relevance, and this is giving you that thing that you care about more than anything else, then yeah, you're not going to stop it. And I think he's been very clear on that too. I don't think that if his dad can't get to him, if his closest friends that he's grown up with can't actually change his mind, I don't think that this is like a genuinely mistaken person who will have a change of heart. Yeah, he actively says he does not care. So there was a point in time where I thought that was possible, but I don't think that he is. I just don't think that he cares. And also, this is far larger than Asmongold anyway. Asmongold is simply a placeholder for like the attitude shift that's happening online in general. Okay? Like, if it wasn't Asmongold, it'd be someone else who would be doing like I'm actually a centrist and I really like populism, but also Trump is a content machine, so I'm just gonna watch it in a positive way as chat keeps spamming W and based every time Donald Trump says like I'm gonna eliminate DEI and transgenders or whatever. Like, that's it. He respects you. I think you may be able to convince him. I think there was a point in time where he did, but I don't think I'll be able to convince him. You can't. What's the other quote where it's like you can't change the mind of a person who makes money off of not having his mind changed? Like, what's the Upton Sinclair quote? You know, it's difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding it. Well, you've said yourself that Asmon doesn't care about money. Yes, it's not about the money for him. It's more so about the relevance aspect. Yeah. Substitute money in that situation for relevancy and you'll understand it. He's literally been repeating the point of it's being extremely successful, so he's going to keep doing it. He left the organization and started so he can continue doing this. Yeah, it makes sense. If you only care about that and this is getting you that, then why would you stop doing it? Especially because, like, I think at his financial status and his also lack of interest in like spending money on anything really, this is the one thing that he cares about. And nothing that the Trump administration does will ever impact him. Like, it just won't. So why should he give a shit? And if if it harms people in his audience, he still doesn't give a shit. You know what I mean? And those guys are actively championing this demise. So that's it. This is the cold hard truth of the matter. Okay. What about banning video games? I don't think Trump is going to do that. And on the liberal side, you have people who present themselves as champions of progress, who have like selfish and very deeply personal vendettas against someone like myself. So I'm catching it from all aspects in that regard. That's why everywhere you go online, there's people on the right that obviously don't like me because I'm fucking, commie hypocrite, socialist who's rich. Fuck this guy. He sucks. He mustn't believe what he's actually saying. But then also on the liberal side, because people are completely devoid of any interest in like truly championing policies and instead operate on a team sport mentality, they get primed by their favorite liberal content creators to also thinking the exact same things. Like, oh, Hassan is a rich hypocrite socialist who's a fake socialist and he's grifting and he's bad. He hates America. That's it. Anyway, it's not, you can't convince someone whose goals align in the process of not being convinced. I also personally don't think Asmongold will debate me in the future either, because why should he? It's much easier to just like keep reacting to Donald Trump and getting the attention of a lot of people who like Donald Trump and going, yeah, that's based over and over again. It's the easiest thing on the planet to do. It's great. I totally understand why someone who is far removed from the negative aspects of any administration to fucking do that. You know? Why would he turn around and talk to someone who has a diametrically opposite worldview, who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about? You know? This is why I've also maintained the position over and over again that, like, it is incredibly easy to farm right-wingers. Okay? It is unimaginably easy to farm right-wingers. It is the easiest grift of all time. And this is precisely the reason why nobody fucking quote-unquote grifts to the left. I believe it was, what is this? As much as I hate to say it, I feel that after the nuke, whatever vid, a lot of people changed their view on you, in which is shame, because a lot of the, if not most of that vid is so out of context. No, it's not that. I mean, there are certainly a margin of people that, there are certainly a margin of people that are just like completely, truly oblivious to global politics in general, that will move away at the behest of their favorite content creator. But ultimately, I don't think that actually changes the dynamic at all. If it did, then people wouldn't be actively brigading every single thing that I do in an effort to be like, hey, don't listen to this guy. He's a really bad guy. You know? Most people don't know who Asmin or Hassan is. It's all content. Yes, there's also that aspect of it as well. I've heard, like, I think it's maybe a little suspicious that the overwhelming majority of my naysayers are people who just have no political associations or have right-wing political associations in general and don't necessarily understand politics at all. They don't understand my politics, but they don't understand politics at all. It is always from the aspect of drama. Like, that's it. That's what it is. It's people presenting themselves as centrists who don't have any real political convictions whatsoever, just constantly, you know, repeating the same old idiotic takes over and over again. Because if they did, they would probably lock in. Like, if anyone was a remotely serious person about politics, if they truly weren't just like drama farming content creators, I suspect that they would spend more of their time right now trying to actively find ways of combating the incoming administration and all of the devastating actions that they're engaging in. Like, when you got migrants being shipped off to Guantanamo Bay and your battle that you are waging is against the dude who you on paper agree with like 99% of the time, you're probably not very serious about things. Yeah, I know a few people who hate you for various different reasons. One of them was when you say streaming is harder than a 9 to 5 and something you defend sexual assault in Israel. All of them either saw clips or the nuke. Yeah, exactly. It's just, well, the nuke is just a collection of clips. But I still believe that people have the capacity to make up their own mind, regardless of what other people are, regardless of what other people are saying. You know what I mean? Like, it's impossible for people to come in here and continue maintaining this position that, you know, they maintaining the position that they are going to consistently, they're going to keep being duped actively, you know? Anyway, your haters always attack your character and appearance, but never actually political takes, which I find weird. Not a single counter argument, but bah, terrorist supporter because someone says so, bah. Exactly. Anyway, I think it's a little bit of a good thing depending on which audience is reacting. Like, at least they are being wary of content creators in general, because so many of them are just marketing things to you or total fakes. No, I don't think people do that. My point is, I think drama, and I've said this a lot, drama is a very palatable way to consume politics, because politics is otherwise very boring, or even worse than boring. Politics is really scary and sad, especially when you feel how powerless you are. And for that reason, drama is like the most entertaining way that you can get that. You can feel smart, you can feel intelligent, because someone who's not very intelligent is telling you that this other guy who might have yelled at you or have undermined your worldview is actually stupid, or if not stupid, a hypocrite, right? He's a bad guy. So politics is not easily digestible, even though I try to make it as palatable as possible. These guys actually just only care about the drama aspect and the algorithm boost that they get from it, and will very actively garner the attention of people who also aren't necessarily interested in the policies, whether it hurts them individually or not. So they gravitate towards the drama aspect of it. Everyone's got a different method. My method is to have fun while covering horrifying realities. I try to do that to the best of my ability. I think I do a pretty decent job with that, you know? I just don't do it from the framework of drama. Hassan, I deadass made an alt account because you banned me for like 5 years for one well-written and thought-out message. You are a bend-over shill who loves semen in between his nostrils when he eats cereal, so when it drops down on the bowl, he mixes it into the milk and eats it, hoping to forget the terrible atrocities that he has since feasted upon. Shalom. Huh? Do you think you just convinced anyone here that you actually had a... Like, you just basically proved why you probably got banned 5 years ago. That's so strange. Like, why have you maintained a 5-year-old grudge? That's weird. Also, why are you fantasizing about me doing cum-related things? Hey, it's on someone in my relatively niche online community is using the conservative playbook and people are eating it up despite others pointing out the hypocrisy, doublethink, etc., etc. He recently made a video that gained traction and now the community is filled with tourists parroting his opinion. I hate the fact that every corner of the internet is filled with these people nowadays. Yeah, I mean... There is an onslaught of right-wing content. There is right-wing content everywhere online, and that is a cycle that basically creates even more right-wing content because people see successful. It's in some ways it's similar to Elon Musk doing the Nazi salute. Elon Musk does the Nazi salute. There's public reception that is like obviously negative towards it, but then there's this whole like, oh, we're actually owning the libs aspect to it. Okay. So then other people start doing it as well. They do it to basically say like, yeah, I'm doing it. The fuck are you going to do about it? Do you understand? And it's exactly like that. It's exactly like that. Where if you see Asmongold popping off, you know, and you know, farming right-wing viewers, and you are otherwise like politically agnostic or don't necessarily care and you just want to make money or you want to get your clout up, yeah, you're going to go in that direction. That's a lot of people's first foray into, I think, commentary in general. I do truly believe that if there was a massive amount of like communist, leftist content creators out there that were unimaginably successful in the independent media landscape, and there are obviously structural hurdles ahead of that make it impossible, there would be plenty of other people who also did that initially and without believing the ideology whatsoever, but just did it because they're like, well, other people are doing it, I might do it as well. I would go so far as to say that I think my brand of politics has dominated Twitch for the past, 5 years, okay, until recently. It did. And I think that there were a lot of people who also leaned in that direction as well because they saw that it was permissible. Maybe they had some allegiances to it. Maybe they didn't, but it doesn't matter. Because guess what? The people who weren't real believers, okay, the people who were not real believers of this kind of thing very quickly moved on and no longer, and openly demonstrated that they actually have right-wing opinions as well. What? What the fuck? Oh, he's just insane. Raise your hand if you have an ex-girlfriend that you wish you could beat the fuck up. Dude, yeah, okay. This person came in saying like they had a truly normal grievance that was not addressed 5 years ago and then very quickly explained exactly why we fucking banned him. Jesus Christ. Ban this fucking international terrorist. What? Owning the libs, my brother in Christ? You don't even own any more eggs? Oh my God. Oh. You underestimate the power of propaganda and tribe mentality. People see attacks on you will 100% be influenced. The only way to reduce the propaganda is counter propaganda. Content creators like the husband. What? Okay. Yeah, I think that the other side of this that also is damaging is that I am not a drama content creator. I'm a political content creator. Okay. I don't exist in the world where I constantly find new villains online to tackle. If I did, I would do that. Okay. If I did, I would love this opportunity to duke it out. Okay. There are YouTube video compilations. If you think that people are aggressively anti me and that actually helps in the algorithm, I promise you Yes, I have drama in the title because it's a bait, okay? And it's stupid. I hope you understand. There are a lot of people that have made a lot of money shitting on my former podcast co-host. Some of it is for valid reasons that I suspected he changed from, okay? And some of it is not. But it doesn't matter. What matters is if you're exclusively interested in the drama of it all, there is a million things that he has in his background that people have fucking regularly garnered millions of views over. Do you think I don't know how to fucking make a video like that? Of course I do. And there are plenty of others who do that. Okay? The reason why I don't do that is not because I'm some incredibly moral person who's above it all, even though I do think there is, you know, I don't care to entertain this kind of shit, okay? The reason why I don't do that is because I'm not a fucking drama content creator. If I was, then this would be a wonderful opportunity for me to get millions and millions of fucking views, okay? The more I cover drama, the more I move away from what I want to cover, which is what the current government is fucking doing to the administrative state. Okay, there's 8,000 people so far that have been forcibly removed from their homes and deported, placed in fucking hotel rooms in Panama City, sent to Guantanamo Bay. I'm sorry, I think it's fucking irrelevant to consistently go back and have this like back and forth with someone who doesn't necessarily care about the real politics of it all, but simply is just garnering attention and making content out of it. Okay? Especially at a time when it's very obvious that the right dominates the internet. Okay? They dominate it. Do you understand? You say this, yet you play Marvel Rivals sometimes. Of course I do. I need to fucking maintain my sanity to a certain degree. I try to make multifaceted content, but drama is not like that. Okay? When I fucking play Marvel Rivals, for example, when I play Marvel Rivals doesn't come back and make like 1 million fucking YouTube videos, and then Marvel Rivals' fans don't come after and try to constantly derail the conversation that I'm trying to have. I know you're making fun of his argument. I'm simply stating that like that is the reason why I don't do it. Okay? There's also a secondary purpose to all the other like not immediately political content that I engage in. It's to sneak in progressive values and progressive ideas, okay, and make them normal. That's it. I think your values, what? You are really good at pretending like you aren't condoning this anti-propaganda. You put it up on the screen for everyone else to see, keep it there for a while while reading something else until you say, oh, what? And then give your rational response. Why was that pinned though, mate? Maybe because I didn't fucking read what he was saying. And then I also actively explained why I don't talk about that sort of stuff. Are you not? See, this is what I mean. You're not here to listen to what I'm saying because you don't think I'm honest. You don't think I'm a decent person, which is fine. Okay? You do not think I am an honest or decent person. You think I'm a bad person. You think I'm an ontologically evil person. There's not much I can do in terms of like convincing you that your opinions are shaped by someone else. Okay? That's it. I really didn't before though. That's what I mean, chatter. That exactly. Now think, when you made up your own mind, you literally, if you were in here and you made up your own mind about who I am after watching me directly, you were fine. But then someone else told you, no, here, watch this person 15 seconds at a time as I frame it in a negative way. And you were like, that's it. That's enough for me. Okay? That's the point. How does that not help you understand? How does that not help you understand that, like, this is not a conviction that you arrived at on your own? It's someone else that told you that this is what you should think. Yeah, you got duped. It's fine. If you hate me, you hate me. It's all good. I'll still fucking advocate for your rights as well because it's not transactional. Okay? It's not supposed to be transactional. This is why a long time ago I stopped addressing drama, not because I'm fearful or not because I want to, not because I'm allergic to the secret hidden truths. It's because most people that are primed for that, I'm effing. I'm back. Minor F. Anyway, CIA took me down. Kash Patel came for me. Cash Patel, no. Do you, for the chatters who are actually thinking that like I'm legitimately evil and scared of the truth or whatever, do you understand how this conversation devolves into completely unproductive shit, and that 30,000 people that come in here every day don't want to fucking watch me repeat the same points over and over again and defend myself seemingly? That's the reason why I don't do it. Okay? The truth is out there. If you want to see it, it's readily available. It's not a secret. It's out there. There's context for every single thing, you know? I think the point is we're all boned regardless. You can go down playing their game, trying to make drama content, or you can go down making genuine content on your own terms. The destination will unfortunately more likely than not be the same. At least you're staying true to your values and are not letting the world drag you down. I mean, yeah. I still sympathize with Hassan's approach. I assume that's what you're referring to. It's also my approach. Yeah. For those of you in this community, yes, if you see someone just like saying some unhinged, insane shit, yes, you can correct them. Do it in a gentle way. To be like, hey, look, here is the actual appropriate context for this. It's not correct. Okay? That's it. That's it. That's all you can do. There's a lot of these people. There are a lot of people who are duped by clips. No one has the capacity to fucking watch a 8-hour stream. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about this data analyst cooking
Elon Musk thinks there's massive fraud in the government because the database has the same social security number twice. Who's gonna tell him that a SQL database and an Excel spreadsheet aren't the same thing? Let me make this really simple. If you record some social security recipient's payment for July and then
I still think the Houthi music videos were fire. I don't care. My country also does similar propaganda like every other country. Yeah, I know. That's also ridiculous. Like the fucking music video that I showed Nick was literally a music video of them talking about being fucking endlessly bombed with American weapons by the Saudi government, which every single liberal saw as a man-made famine and a genocide because it was Donald Trump who was overseeing it, but now seemingly have forgotten after Biden considered them to be public enemy number one and reinstate their terrorism status. So, you know, miss me with this bullshit. I fucking watch propaganda videos or musicals from virtually every goddamn nation or even militancy group, just like the IRA, you know? The only thing that stops me from watching them is because Twitch, unlike any other social media platform, has a rigorous application of their own terms of service. I've actually thought about potentially doing like a tier list reacting to that stuff again, but not just like the Ansar Allah musical about the Saudis bombing them, but instead you know, doing one with like a tier list with the IRA, tier list with the Algerian National Liberation, Viet Cong, put some Americans in there as well. Because I've done it before. I've done a whole stream with Boy Boy where it was all propaganda videos. No one talks about it for some reason. Why? Because it's not. I'm sure that if Sex Pest in his community fucking turned around and made a video about that, a lot of people would focus on that because this is convictionless for people. They never actually explain why this is bad. Okay? They simply say it's a terrorism group and you're pro-terrorism over and over again. You understand? Sadly, the biggest funders of the IRA was the USA. Excuse me, that was not a sad thing. That was a massive fucking W for the American Irish population. But yeah, they only want drama and you give that to them, Hassan, move on. Yeah. Elon Musk is sending out mass emails to all federal agencies saying that, asking them what they've accomplished this past week. No response will be considered a resignation. So good stuff there. We talked about Bernie Sanders' popularity. We got a lot of Elon Musk related things here as well on the docket. We're going to be talking about the deadbeat dad alert. The world's wealthiest is also the world's greatest deadbeat. Oh, also there was this as well. They're getting far way comfortable inciting violence against anti-Zionist Jews. This is scary as fuck. Ben Lover says, following his Nazi salute, Steve Bannon engages in an unalloyed anti-Semitism, calling progressive U.S. Jews the #1 enemy inside the wire for Israelis. Progressive Jewish billionaires funding all this stuff. Disloyal to Israel and MAGA. Interesting.
Where are you from? I was born in Jerusalem. Folks from USSR, so that expelled into real socialism. My question is to you is this. What do you think about foreign aid to Israel? Is it a strategic partnership?
Israel is a partner of the United States, but people in Israel got to understand something.
The number one enemy to the people in Israel are American Jews that do not support Israel and do not support MAGA. Okay, MAGA and the evangelical Christians and the traditional Catholics in this country have Israel's back. They have the Jews' back. The biggest single enemy to the Jewish people are not the Islamic supremacists. The biggest enemy you have is inside the wire. Progressive Jewish billionaires.
The biggest enemy to Americans, the biggest enemy to Israel is American Jews, progressive American Jews. I mean, not completely incorrect when he says that from the perspective of a fascist government in Israel. Yeah, they also see it that way too, for sure. Can you please enable background audio? No, dude, what the fuck? I have a noise gate that's good for a reason. It's so that you don't hear my fucking mouth noises and shit. The hell?
That are funding all this.
Also, I don't know who a progressive billionaire is. That part is ridiculous. I think that's him trying to be the populist when he says progressive billionaire Jews. What a ridiculous thing to say.
Stuff. They are the number one enemy, and the people in Israel gotta have to set that right. Because MAGA has your back, traditional Catholics have your back, and evangelical Christians have your back. We will always have the back of Israel. But I gotta tell you, you have an enemy inside the wire.
Insane. Bannon has always been a strategic coalition builder for MAGA and the global nationalist movement. That means naming the right enemies. To cement the dominant coalition between Christian nationalists and the Israeli and American Jewish right, dissenting Jewish voices must be neutralized. That means 80% of American Jews who oppose MAGA, and for most Bibi, are labeled an enemy within, corroding the Judeo-Christian West through betraying Israel and funding progressive causes. Years of scapegoating Soros and globalists paved the way for this. And since 10/7, scapegoating groups like JVP has lent it a sharper edge. Many centrist liberal American Jewish leaders have certainly participated in the latter and so have helped undermine their own position, emboldening a MAGA movement arrayed against them as well. This is something that I actually talked about on the Bad Hasbara episode, where America is a nation built on Judeo-Christian values is a relatively new propaganda item. Okay, it's a post 9/11 statement. Before then, ain't nobody was saying that. Okay, so right-wing, ultra-Zionist or even liberal Zionist American Jews weirdly think that there is some semblance of allegiance here, not realizing that the Judeo part can be deleted from that conversation just as easily as it was slanted there. And it's very strange that it's just very strange to me that people don't realize that. And unironically, every single person who has a pro-Israeli sentiment that consistently ties what Israel is doing to Judaism because they think it's a solid defensive posture is unironically advocating for more anti-Semitism in this country. Okay? That's it. That's it. Israel, as it stands, is a fucking far-right nationalist government. It does not matter what their religion is. That is all Israel is a ethno-nationalist, fascist government. So if you are a progressive Jew or Christian or Muslim, it doesn't fucking matter, and you look at that and you try to defend it, you are not realizing that you're playing a very dangerous fucking game. This allegiance will not hold, okay? So I think it's important for people to reconsider this attitude. I think it's important for people to reconsider this attitude and really take a cold, hard look at their previous social conditioning that has dictated that like Zionism is an incredibly important part of your identity. When you got dudes who are Sig Heiling talking about how we got to eradicate these progressive Jews that are a threat to Israel. It's shocking that people don't understand. It's shocking that people don't understand that these guys are simply fucking lying when they say, oh, we love Jews, we love Israel. I mean, they do love Israel, but they certainly don't love Jews, okay? That's why what the ADL does is horrifying at a time when anti-Semitism unironically is exploding, especially amongst the youth, and it certainly is, partially because their first interaction, aside from the underlying anti-Semitic opinions that people have, their first interaction is like Television Man telling them that, like, no, Israel is doing the baby murder and the baby slaughter for Judaism. And if you actually think that that's bad, if you actually think it's weird that we're giving, you know, another $8 billion of weapons to Israel so they can kill babies more effectively, that actually is anti-Semitic, then people are going to be like, okay, well, why am I associating? Like you're personally associating death, destruction, and violence with Judaism falsely. It's insane. It's a completely psychotic way to approach it. It's like if I, as a Muslim living in America, was running around being like, excuse me, ISIS is the true Islam, and you're being quite Islamophobic for not being on board with ISIS. And then people still come in here and hit this fucking idiotic drama shit. Also on the backlash on the trash taste vid, the internet hates you, dog. I know, man. What are you going to do? First of all, once again, the overwhelming majority of people who watch the fucking podcast just watch the podcast. Do you think it's reflective when a 2-hour podcast is posted and instantly it's swarmed with thousands of comments from people who are like, I'm a longtime fan, even though they're writing, they haven't subscribed to the fucking podcast at all, writing for the first time ever. Great. I'm glad that, you know, I'm glad that you're in here to try and advance this cause, to be like, the internet hates you, dog. I know, dude. They certainly do. Except none of these content creators do, weirdly enough. And I never actually see it in the real world at all. I don't know what it is. Good thing it didn't get to you. What? See, this is, again, doubling down on the fucking, on the drama shit. No, actually, we did. We did it successfully. We did it successfully. We actually hurt him. You didn't, okay? Yeah, other episodes get 1,000 comments on average. This one already has 10,000 comments. Surely it's all Trash Days fans, and it's not being actively brigaded. It's not going to work. Okay? It's not going to work. Anyway, initiatives like Project Esther, scapegoating the Palestine Solidarity Movement and the broader left, including Jewish left, as anti-Semites and civilizational enemies, serve the same function. Anti-Semitic conspiracies claiming to uncover the real anti-Semites, a maddening inversion. Yeah. Anyway, this is the new meta, okay? It's just simply not going to... It's not... What is this? A searing and spot-on indictment? Backsliding into fascism just 80 years after World War II is like... failing an open book test in a room where the answers are written on the board and are also constantly being read out loud over a loudspeaker. Yep. Yeah. We got incredibly powerful dudes doing Nazi salutes on Maine, okay? And then other people also doing it just to, you know, goad people into being like, look at how based I am. We're putting people in camps. We're gutting government agencies that can check their power. There's blatant racism everywhere, bigotry everywhere, okay? And people's opinion, supposedly liberal and progressive people's mentality in this moment is about what one of the only successful fucking progressive content creators is saying, that they seemingly feel is not up to par with their way of seeing the world, only because I said that a genocidal apartheid state is bad. That's it. That's what this conversation is around. It's psychotic. You are a deeply unserious person. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are deeply unserious. But I'm just going to continue doing what I'm fucking doing, regardless of what people say. Okay? As I always say, history will vindicate me. It does not fucking matter. And even if it doesn't, that means we've already lost. Okay? It's over. Yeah. I see so much Holocaust denial on TikTok. We're fucked. Absolutely, dude. There's the... I told you guys about this shit before. Sometimes they're like... I'll see something on the For You page and I'm like, what the fuck is this? People now have new ways of doing Holocaust denial. New ways of doing Holocaust denial. The new wave of Holocaust denial is saying 271,000. I assume that's what they claim the number of Jews that were killed during the Holocaust is, which, by the way, is obviously untrue. It's 6 million. Except it doesn't even fucking matter. Even if it was 271,000, that would still be completely unacceptable, but it doesn't matter. Because, once again, Holocaust denial works and anti-Semitism works in the way that I described to you. Okay? Okay? Anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial and any matter of like different fascist politics works in the way that I described it earlier with the Sartre quote. Okay? It is not about the truth. It is about having you entertain this notion. It's about overwhelming you. It's about undermining your position. So I urge people to fucking lock in. I do sometimes feel like I'm just out here, not alone, okay? There are plenty of other people as well, but like it does, this space online, especially the political commentary space and the adjacent like drama communities, are so primed to the fucking right, are so unimaginably primed to the right that like the largest content creators or the largest figureheads of even like in the West of even the pro-Palestinian movement are seemingly all rugged anti-Semites. Holocaust is fake as fuck, bro. There you go. Okay, see, this is what I mean. They find themselves in here as well. If anything, this anti-Semitism is good in the sense that it exposes Israel's hypocrisy and will bring pressure on the apartheid. It's just that, what? No, what are you talking about? How are you so sure history will vindicate the Palestinians? History is written by the victors, not by who was the most moral or right. The fuck do you mean? No, anti-Semitism does not actually cause people to understand what Israel is doing as a wrong thing. You have to be delusional if you think that. If the first principles that you apply in the situation are completely out of whack with logic, then you're not going to arrive at the correct position. No, the notion that like anti-Semitism will cause people to resent Israel is fucking idiotic, especially because, one, there are more anti-Semitic pro-Israel people in the United States of America and all around the world than there are Jewish people across the board, whether they are pro or anti-Israel. Okay? I've described this a million times over. Evangelical Zionism, comprised almost entirely of anti-Semitic people who are incredibly pro-Israel, is a far larger number of people than the number of total Jews on the planet, regardless of whether they're pro-Israel or anti-Israel. Okay? There is a reason why Benjamin Netanyahu feels so comfortable aligning with right-wing anti-Semitic fascists all around the globe, because it's short-term thinking that plays alongside the fascist nationalist project that Benjamin Netanyahu has. Okay? It's deeply associated with the existence of Israel. If anti-Semitism grows in the West, that means more Jewish people will think, oh, the only way we could survive after centuries of anti-Semitic purges, centuries of pogroms, and the fucking Holocaust, the only way we can survive is if we're a strong nation that is constantly dominating others. The greatest threat to Israel is not Hamas. Okay? The greatest threat to Israel is not anti-Semitic people. The greatest threat to Israel and the Israeli project, the Zionist project, is anti-Zionist Jews, or the entertaining the notion that perhaps Israel is not the safe place for Jews at all, and that Jews in the Western world are actually safe. Now, of course, understandably, many Jews in the Western world do not feel safe. They don't feel safe because anti-Semitism is rising. When they don't feel safe because anti-Semitism is rising, then lo and behold, they find themselves in the throes of all of the social conditioning that took place when they were growing up. This is a very dangerous gambit. Just like I said, I was correct, unfortunately, that Kamala Harris was entertaining a very dangerous gambit when she paraded fucking Liz Cheney, thinking that they were going to be able to create a new coalition. And that failed in spectacular capacity. The notion that this false association of Israel and Judaism will actually create even a stronger position for Israel to exist in the violent ways that it does, as in an apartheid state conducting a genocide, and that this will continue, and that this growing anti-Semitism will never turn on Zionist Jews by ironically anti-Semitic evangelical Christian Zionists is silly. One day, they will force you at gunpoint to go live in Israel. Whether you don't want to live there or not doesn't matter. One day they'll say, why are these guys in so many powerful positions in the media and in the banking system? We should just send them all to Israel. You will not be going back voluntarily to Israel. You will be going at gunpoint to Israel. Okay? That's where all of this anti-Semitism goes. Okay? It's shocking to me that people don't see this. Most of the Jews want to live in Israel. Yeah, okay. How can you say ISIS is the same as Zionism? What did you think about the Bibas family? How can you say that ISIS is the same as Zionism? I can say it because ISIS is a non-state actor, as a militant apparatus, was also engaging in a form of colonialism, destroying monuments, dominating the entire population in incredibly violent fucking ways. Israel has done the exact same shit that ISIS has done. And ISIS also was a false claimer of Islam, just like Israel is a false claimer of Judaism. What do you mean? That's why it's so funny when Israel was like, oh, Hamas is ISIS. Like, remember post-October 7, they were like, Hamas is ISIS over and over again. Israel is infinitely closer to both ISIS in ideology and the way that they operate, but also Israel has aligned with fucking ISIS rebel groups in Syria actively. They've actually given medical coverage to ISIS fighters. They've literally given guns to ISIS. ISIS was pretty much claiming living space like Israel and the Nazis. Yeah, exactly. But good luck. Good luck explaining that concept to an American who go, well, ISIS is Muslim and bad. They don't hate ISIS for being a violent fucking colonial apparatus. They hate ISIS because they're Muslim. It's crazy. Okay? They don't understand that, like, it's not the Islam part. It's not even a real fucking interpretation of Islam anyway. It's the death, destruction that makes them bad. It's the forcible enslavement of people and murder that makes them bad. The fuck? Turks are the main funders of ISIS because they want to dry Mesopotamia rivers for their own land. Yeah, I think that there's a little bit of a larger reason there. It's because America can't directly fund ISIS, and even though, you know, sometimes they'll still do that, but they can't directly seemingly fund ISIS, so they go with their NATO ally in the region. People accusing you of anti-Semitism have nothing to help people combat it. I've been a viewer of both sides, and you are the only one. You are the one who has helped me navigate my feelings towards Judaism, not them. It's crazy how they portray you as the anti-Semite. Yeah, the worst part about it is that, I mean, aside from it being a vicious smear, is that it's being entertained by people who know for a fucking fact that I am not. Why does America want to fund ISIS? I don't know. Maybe having an incredibly violent, destabilizing militia in the region is beneficial for their interests. It's the same reason as to why Western powers designed the Arab nation states that we know and understand as full-fledged nation states as ones that are comprised of multiple different ethnicities and religious backgrounds that will constantly be in a state of war with one another so that they are easily undermined and easily dominated. ISIS's interpretation of Sunni Islam is far closer to Saudi Arabia and the UAE's as opposed to Hamas, does not even include Hezbollah/Iran, which are diametrically opposed to ISIS. Yes. That's why it's like ridiculous when they would post 9/11, they were like, you know who's actually a part of the axis of evil? Iran. And the Iranians were like, what the fuck do you mean? We're what? 17 Saudi nationals out of the 19 hijackers led by a fucking Saudi millionaire that was an American asset does 9/11, and then their number one fighters in the region are also simultaneously a part of this like scheme. They're actually involved in it. What a fucking insane thing to say. But it doesn't matter because Americans are so fucking stupid. They don't understand it at all. Yes, Iran has also consistently, here's the secret side of the story that is not so secret. Iran has consistently given the American state intelligence in combating Al-Qaeda in the fucking region. Yeah. And ISIS as well, yes. What? Didn't you once say you don't think Israeli settlers should get expelled? No one remembers that when they call you anti-Semitic? Yes, because it is infinitely harder to portray me as a fucking anti-Semite that wants to kill all Jews in Israel when you realize that my advocacy revolves around a single secular solitary state. That is why that conversation is never had on those boundaries. When I advocate for a one state, I advocate to give Palestinians rights, okay? But of course, that is a very difficult conversation to navigate if you want to present your opinion as the correct one, okay? It's hard because the reason why you don't believe that that can ever happen is because you secretly believe that all Arabs are fucking barbaric rapist monsters and that if given the opportunity would kill every Jew in Israel. So when you openly say that, because that's your real opinion on why a one-state solution could never happen, okay, people will look at you and go, well, that's some Nazi shit. The rest of the settler babies clip they cut out is literally you explaining that saying run all the Israelis out of the region is harmful for everyone. I know. That's why it's such a fucking insane conversation. And I'm shocked that people still get duped by it. Like, every single argument presented in whenever people talk about my opinions on Israel-Palestine are every single one of them is cut in a way to literally make it seem like I'm advocating for the opposite position that I'm actually advocating for. Anyway, I think that there is also a healthy amount of people who are also obviously pro-Israel, and this is their way of attacking, seemingly almost only attacking pro-Palestinian voices. Some of those voices are actually anti-Semitic, for the record, as I have long maintained and talked about a million times over, but it does not matter. Anyway, breaking news from DropSite. After receiving all 6 of the living Phase 1 Israeli captives, Benjamin Netanyahu's government has postponed the scheduled release of 602 Palestinian captives, according to the Israeli press reports. The release, which was set for today as part of the largest exchange, is now delayed at least until the Security Cabinet meets this evening. A correspondent for Israel's public broadcaster shares these comments from Israel's Defense Minister Katz, explaining the delay. We are deeply saddened by the fate of Shiri Bibas and her sons Ariel and Kafir, who were murdered with unparalleled cruelty by Hamas terrorists and their accomplices. We cannot pass over this terrible and horrific act as an agenda item. We must do everything to bring all the kidnapped, both living and dead, home and ensure that the rule of Hamas monsters in Gaza is destroyed and no longer poses a threat to our citizens. Okay? Hamas has accused the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of sabotaging the Gaza ceasefire agreement, saying the Israeli government is not engaging in negotiations for the second phase of the deal, due to end on March 1st. There's also more information specifically on the Bibas family as well. Here it is. The Bibas family has stated that they have received no official details about how their loved ones died and have asked the media to stop publishing unverified reports. Their request comes after Israeli military spokesman Daniel Hagari claimed in a televised statement that Hamas militants did not shoot the 2 young boys. They killed them with their bare hands. He further alleged that militants then committed horrific acts to cover up the atrocities. Hagari said this assessment was based on forensic findings from the identification process. What? Did you see that people in Lebanon are getting random messages in Arabic and Hebrew? Okay, hold on. We'll get to that in a second. Hagari said in his assessment that forensic findings from the identification process and intelligence that supports these findings, adding that Israel had shared this information with the international partners, but not a shred of evidence was shared publicly to support any of these claims. And, it appears, not even with the Bibas family. Any publication of details, including references to the treatment of the bodies, is against the family's wishes, and we ask that this be avoided, a statement by the family said. The family has not yet received any such details from official sources. This complete lack of proof did not stop various prominent figures and media personalities from uncritically repeating the Israeli military's claims. Governor Kathy Hochul also pushed for it. Anyway, Hamas freed 6 of the last remaining, I think, alive Israeli hostages today because they abided by the ceasefire negotiation that they had signed off on. Israel, on the other hand, is deciding to renege on the ceasefire negotiation. More than 600 Palestinians and their families remain in limbo as Israel delays their release without explanation. Families wait in the cold and rain, some in Ramallah, others in Gaza, and over 100 prisoners' relatives in Cairo, where they face exile, while Israel's security cabinet, convened by Netanyahu, stalls on a decision. The cabinet is reportedly discussing whether Israel withdraws from the Philadelphia corridor and extends phase 1 of the ceasefire instead of moving to phase 2. Families of the Palestinian hostages awaiting their release amidst the rain in Gaza. That's where we're at now. Now let's take a look at how the hostages were released. I wonder if Western media will actually show the release videos, because there was some interesting sites that were disconcerting for the Israeli state and their project overall. But let's see. Holy fuck, that's so loud. I apologize.
Family and friends, today was Liberation Day. 16 months of pain endured by Omer's sister turning into joy. Every hostage release, every scene like this one, proving this ceasefire's worth. Though whether it continues beyond next week is anyone's guess. Omer was among 6 released by Hamas in Gaza this morning. The 6 are the last living hostages to be returned in this ceasefire's first phase. The 22-year-old was paraded on stage. He'd been kidnapped from a music festival, and yet remarkably, he kissed 2 of the men who had been...
hope he said no homo after, bro. Straight up. Unacceptable. Hamas is doing DEI. Hamas is doing DEI and gay. They're doing woke, dude. Anyway, the gift bags of the certificates are sending me. Yeah, look, the wait, what? Please, hey, Hassan, please give us your take. I mean, it's the same as the dudes who fucking dapped up the Hamas dudes. The dudes who dapped them up in the first ceasefire. Do you not remember? And everybody freaked the fuck out about it. And they were like, oh, they must be drugged. Hamas is giving them drugs. And that's why they're dabbing them up. Hamas gave them the drugs that make you dab up Hamas. It turns out that there is a new, even scarier drug out there that Hamas has in their hands. It's called the drug that makes you kiss Hamas.
Been holding him. His homecoming was broadcast on Israeli television, and it will be one of the last unless the ceasefire becomes permanent, though the original plan requires a complete Israeli withdrawal. But Israel is still grieving.
The cope on this is the cameraman told him to do it while he leaned in. Hasanabi was the one that had the viral tweet about the drug that makes you dab up Hamas. Yeah.
In no mood to forgive or forget, and still angry at the deaths of Shiri Bibas and her 2 young children. Hamas handed over Shiri's remains yesterday after delivering the wrong corpse the day before. For all today's celebrations, Israel's Prime Minister has not committed to that second phase of withdrawing troops. Doing so might well lead to the collapse of his coalition government. So imagine how scenes like these look to the families of the 30 or so hostages who are alive and still missing, wondering if the war is about to resume, denying them this moment.
Matt talked about this on Bad Hospital too. He said, no matter what Hamas does, people assume an underlying truth about it. They're drugging the prisoners. They're forcing the prisoners to wave and be happy. They're releasing the prisoners in crowds to intimidate them. They're parading them on stage. Yeah, no, that wasn't Matt. I talked about that. But I mean, he was talking about it too, to be fair. But yes, that is directly at the heart of the matter. It doesn't matter how they release the prisoners. It's the very fact that as an ethno-supremacist state, these people that you have considered to be servile, captive population has embarrassed you. And this is a relitigation of that embarrassing feeling. It's like Adolf Hitler watching a black American dominate in the Olympics. You know what I mean? Like you have the notion that you are the master race, and all of a sudden here, a person that you consider to be lesser than you is dominating your athletes. And this is in a similar vein. Hamas is one of the many different militant groups out there that is tasked with the emancipation of Palestinians. But ultimately, the broader reflection from society is that these are violent, barbaric monsters who only want to rape and kill every Jew they possibly can. But also they're barbarians, like they're lesser, like how dare they do anything, really? How dare they resist? How dare they remind us that they exist? How dare they remind us that they delivered this incredible embarrassment?
That's why we all need to push for having the phase 2. There is more than dozens of young men that are waiting to be released. We know our son, Idan, is alive and is waiting to be released. I'm just hoping that he's staying strong and surviving, and his day will come.
These men are thinking even further ahead. The Saudi Crown Prince and his fellow Arab leaders met yesterday. They know that oil money is likely to foot the bill for Gaza's reconstruction.
Yeah, also, god damn, the Jordanian king is such a fucking manlet. It's crazy. It's all, do they blame this on Stockholm Syndrome? Yes, they say it's Stockholm Syndrome. Some people say it's Stockholm Syndrome. Other people say that the guy with a gun leaned in and forced him to kiss the Hamas guy in the head. And that, there's a million different things that people are saying. He was, he was under duress, yada, yada, yada. I could be crazy, but I 100% believe there's a coordinated hate campaign against you in the last 24 hours. Literally, my entire feed is anti-Assam bullshit. Yes, it happens every now and then. It happens anytime I get any sort of positive coverage. It is a really good distraction away from their favorite content creator who's currently going through legal processes because they, you know, allegedly filmed people without their consent while having sex with them. Okay? Any day that goes by where they're not talking about that is a great day. Throwing bagels at a wall. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. It's also a really effective way. It's also a really effective way to not say that you're like actively pro-Israel. You're actually pro-Palestine, but this guy Hassan and many other people just like him, many of which are of like Arabic background and usually Muslim too, are actually not doing pro-Palestine the right way. If that's your only commentary on the ongoing atrocities, then you are not fucking pro-Palestine. What the fuck are we doing? Okay? That's it. That's it. If your only commentary on the 16-month bombing campaign that took place that killed hundreds of thousands of fucking people, that destroyed every single standing structure in the Gaza Strip, as the Trump administration is entertaining the notion of full-tilt ethnic displacement, which is genocide, okay? And your only commentary on this is literally always to attack the people, the very few people online who are not scared shitless into fucking submission to refuse to talk about this shit, then you probably aren't pro-Palestine. It's that simple. Anyway, I don't care. I've taken far worse hits than this in the past. Who gives a shit, dude? Fuck them.
And that's the price to be paid for stopping Donald Trump from turning it into real estate. The president was himself talking to the Saudis in Florida on Wednesday, along with his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and Steve Witkoff, the property developer now tasked with securing further.
Two goats of property, okay? Here you have two of the greatest of all time when it comes to property, okay? The development of it, just the goats of property, ladies and gentlemen.
Hostage releases.
The issue with phase two is that there's supposed to be an end to the war as part of phase two. And I think the Israelis have a red line, which is you can't have Hamas in the government. And so it's hard to sort of square that circle. But we're making a lot of progress.
My rent went up when they came on screen. Yes, you got two landlords talking to each other. They own a lot of properties. When they get together, when you got landlords with this much power, you know rent's about to go up, okay? Yeah, you better not be late.
In the conversations, and hopefully it will lead to some good things, good results.
And images of these Hamas fighters today will enrage many Israelis. If there wasn't a ceasefire, they would be targeted by Israeli fighter jets. So perhaps it's no surprise that amid such anger, Israel's delayed the release of hundreds of Palestinian detainees. As for whether Hamas really will step down from power, well, it may be the Saudis and the Egyptians who give them no choice in return for rebuilding this. And then, maybe only then, will this current round of conflict end.
Jonathan Rugman reporting there. Now, I'm joined in the studio by Nomi Bayakouv, who's an international peace negotiator at the Geneva Centre for Security Policy, and she specialises in conflict management. Nomi, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Let us assume for a moment that the delay is symbolic rather than substantive. Bring us up to speed with discussions around phase two.
Well, they're always symbolic and substantive. I mean, they're sort of flip side of the same coin. So I'd say there's a bit of both.
Right.
And I think we're also at the stage where Israel's very upset just to address the delay with the way that 3 of the bodies were treated. The bodies that 3 returned in the last 24 hours. The body of Shiri Bibas, the mother of the baby, and the 4-year-old.
So it may be a reaction to the wrong body.
The wrong body.
Right.
That was remedied, but also Israel's requested now a Security Council meeting on this particular issue, Monday or Tuesday, to discuss how to proceed. So that ties into the delay and ties into phase two. Sort of everything is sort of interwoven here. And reportedly the UK and the US are backing the Israeli requests for a Security Council meeting on this.
To be honest, a lot of Palestinian prisoners in Israel are criminals, but the Israeli soldiers abuse them. What is horrible? Come on, dog. Like, they're okay. look, your heart is in the right place, okay? But I will repeat this once again. If especially in the West Bank, Palestinians are not, I mean, you know this already. I suspect you might be Israeli, actually. And before people fucking yell at this chatter, shut the fuck up, okay? They're open-minded, and he says that a one-state solution is possible. The reality of the matter is, a lot of the Palestinians that are thrown in jail is, I mean, they're thrown in jail by the military. In the West Bank, they undergo a military tribunal. Many of them are actually wrongfully detained in a state of permanent detention. Like, the laws in the West Bank, and I think if you are Israeli, you know this better than anybody else, the laws in the occupied Palestinian territory of the West Bank dictate that if you're a Palestinian in the wrong place that Israel is designated as a place that you can't go to, you're technically in violation of the law. And it's not just people that get falsely detained. There was a lady who got shot and killed because she was looking at the ground. That was like a week ago. And the IDF said they shot her because she was looking at the ground, and that's suspicious. We thought that she might be interested in bombing our troop positions. And it's ironic because obviously the Israeli occupying forces presence in the West Bank is quite literally illegal, like definitionally illegal. That's what blows my mind, which is that, like, it's just pure might is right politics, you know? We're here, there's nothing you can do about it, and we are backed by the most powerful country on the planet, the United States of America. So it doesn't matter. We write the laws, we write the rules, and we get to do whatever the fuck we want. But how do you get to a single state without basically doing a Nakba on the other side? I mean, history has shown time and time again that this is actually how it works. There are many examples of this reality. Apartheid South Africa is a great example of this. Okay? That's it. People think that the natural condition is to constantly be in a state of war and constantly fucking fight one another. When in reality, the natural state of affairs is that people work alongside one another. Yeah, South Africa had Bantustans that were supposedly autonomous. This is literally what we're trying to say Palestine is now. Yeah, that's what the two-state solution looks like. Bantustans. I mean, look at Tulkarm. If you dare to even exercise some semblance of sovereignty, you're a terrorist. Like, remember, in the West Bank, okay, in the West Bank, any kind of Palestinian mobilization is literally not only moral, but legal, okay? Israel is the immoral party according to international law, okay? Like, any kind of mobilization against the Israeli occupying force in that regard is literally not only legal under international law, but also the moral thing to do. Israel is illegally occupying the West Bank. It's fucking insane. My advocacy is recognizing the reality, which is that this is a singular state currently. It's just an apartheid state, okay? That's it. And that apartheid must be abolished.
This issue.
Right. Concerns about it not taking place at all. Are you worried? The progress to phase 2?
Well, I am cautiously optimistic, personally. I think that the push is very serious, both from the US. We've just heard in Jonathan Rugman's report, excellent report, that Steve Witkoff was saying they're making progress and they're working on it. It's very clear that President Trump and Witkoff are very keen to ensure that there won't be a resumption of fighting. That is not in their interest. It is also clear that the vast majority of the Israeli public, except for a small minority which is in power, the extreme government, also interested in ensuring that all hostages are returned. There are currently 63 hostages. That is a process, and that will entail an end of war. So I think, yes, I think we will see a resumption. Netanyahu is going to make it look like it's so difficult for him, and he's making so many concessions, and it's not going to be smooth. Yeah. But I think eventually we are going to see the hostages return.
You can just say Hamas's actions did not help Palestine. It resulted in mass killings from Israel. I blame Israel too, but Hamas is not helping the Palestinian cause. I don't blame the children and youth who are part of Hamas, but the leadership is leading them towards these actions. If you could acknowledge that, you can move on to covering the genocide again. I don't know why you think you get to dictate how I cover this at all. Okay? Like, who the fuck are you, dude? What do you mean? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck do you think you are, chatter? Not even to, like, dictate how I cover this genocide, okay? Yeah, it's like, hey, listen, the Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto actually engaged in incredibly violent actions. And you can just say that the leaders of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising certainly did not help the Jewish population and the socialist and, you know, the trade unionist, communist population in Germany. Okay. And all around Eastern Europe, as a matter of fact, because the retaliation caused Nazis to kill way more Jews. So once you actually recognize that the Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto uprising were not acting at the behest of the rest of the Jewish population, you can continue covering the Holocaust. That's exactly what you sound like. What an insane thing to say. Excuse me. Can you please talk about the Nat Turner Rebellion? Can you please talk about how the Nat Turner Rebellion actually pushed back the abolition of slavery because of the incredibly violent actions that they engaged in, which they did. And the same goes for October 7 as well. Okay? There's never been a moment where I've said like October 7 is good or anything like that. There's never been a moment where I have not recognized that it's a tragedy. Okay? Straight up slaughter. Chatter isn't entirely wrong. Hamas has done a lot to harm the Palestinian movement. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? What are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Like, dude, there's nothing funnier to me, at least, than like a bunch of fucking white Americans living in Iowa and shit being like, you know, the population that is mostly comprised, like the militancy created by mostly orphans, okay, that were orphaned by the genocidal apartheid regime, trapped in a goddamn open air prison, actually are not doing the right things. They're not resisting in the way that I think they should. Like, regardless of my condemnation of October 7, okay? Like, the notion that, like, you have the better answer here is fucking insane. Stop farting on your couch and go fight then? Are you talking to me? Oh, you're talking to that guy. Yeah, what kind of conversation is this? The standard of the violence is set by the colonial party every single time. There has never been an instance where people who are resisting colonial violence has actually upped the ante of violence. And if you understand, if you trace back, not just Hamas, but any kind of Palestinian militancy, okay, you will realize that violence has always been escalated by the more powerful party. Okay, I'm not demanding they do things a certain way. It's true that it benefits Israel. Whether they fucking do nothing or do anything, it doesn't matter. Everything benefits Israel because its might is right. Okay, that's it. Its might is right. That's all this is. And also, if there wasn't genuine panic and a generational shift in terms of the way that people interpret Israel right now, post-October 7, Israel wouldn't be openly declaring that they're going to be spending $250 million this year in Hasbara operations. Okay? And yes, as you've also correctly pointed out, Israel is not a fucking natural disaster. I urge people to, you know, look back and remind themselves of the normal existence of Palestinians and the many peaceful ways in which they tried to resist against and protest against the colonial apparatus here. The Great March for Peace is, you know, a perfect example of how Israel operates when you actually peacefully protest against Israel. They shoot and kill you, whether you're pregnant or medical personnel, it doesn't matter. They shoot and kill you when you're on a wheelchair. That was before October 7. The Church Street bombing is a terrorist car bomb attack on the 20th of May, 1983 in the South African capital, Pretoria, by MK, the paramilitary wing of the African National Congress. The bombing killed 19 people, including 2 perpetrators, and wounded 217. The attack consisted of a car bomb set off outside the Nedbank Square building, which was rented by the South African Air Force on Church Street West, Pretoria. Now, does this change the dynamic of apartheid for you? This is objectively an atrocity. This is objectively a horrific act of violence. This is why I maintain, or I guess relitigate the JFK quote quite frequently, which is that those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent retribution inevitable. That's it. Do these people feel the same way about apartheid South Africa? They love Mandela as an awesome figure, but they never look into his opinions on Palestine or how he was declared a terrorist. When past is the past, then they become conscious for some reason. No, they don't know anything about the ANC, because once militancy actually succeeds, okay, with oftentimes a multifaceted approach, because, you know, peaceful protest is also incredibly important in this time frame, and like taking legal action is also important, almost as important as like taking militant action as well. But once time has passed, we will successfully whitewash the leadership. Throughout this process, Nelson Mandela was imprisoned, okay? And on numerous occasions, the South African government went to him and said, we will release you if you denounce violence and communism. That's what they kept saying. And time again, his answer was the same. I will not. His first answer was, no. How can you tell me you're negotiating with me when I'm, you know, in chains? This is not a real negotiation. We are not equal partners here. The second time, he also still repeated, no. That extended his prison sentence for decades. Yeah, it is a classic. One day, when it's safe, when there's no personal downside to calling a thing what it is, when it's too late to hold anyone accountable, everyone will have always been against this. Ethan said yesterday that Nelson Mandela condemned all violence and only like 10 civilians died. Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm sorry. It's just wrong. I don't know what else to say. And it's wrong, and you don't know the truth. That's the kindest way I can approach this. And yes, he is misguiding his audience. That's it. One must ask the question why he's doing that. The reason why a lot of people rewrite history this way is because they don't want to see the current example as a good, okay? The current example cannot ever be seen as like engaging in what is considered logical. That's it. Part of that is because, yes, they have engaged in atrocities. They've engaged in a lot of violence. But if you don't actually approach this, if you don't actually approach this level of violence that didn't seemingly happen out of nowhere, then yes, you have to constantly go, no, previous examples are actually different. They're so different. South African Jews love Israel and Zionism for a reason, people. That's also incorrect, because a shit ton of South African Jews, the ones that emigrated to Israel after the apartheid was abolished, yes, okay, sure. But a shit ton of South African Jews actually fucking fought alongside the abolitionists, the people that actually fought against the apartheid, both on the legal side of things and also in the militant side of things as well. So no, that is objectively untrue and ridiculous to claim. Holy shit, that is so ridiculous to claim. I think you unironically, this is why, oh my God. Unironically, people play the same exact song and dance when they do this because they don't understand history, okay? Up until recently, throughout Jewish history, Jews have been almost in every single instance the right side, the revolutionary side of history, okay? Not a monolith, of course. There are some exceptions. And even to this day, Jews, plenty of them, are on the right side of this story as well, this ongoing violence as well. So when you turn around and act like that doesn't exist, you're, you know, playing into the hands of people that want to create an alternative truth. Ronnie Cass rules. South African politician, former guerrilla and military commander, served in a number of ministerial posts. He was a member of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress from 1987 to 2007, as a member of the Central Committee of the South African Communist Party from December 1986 to 2007. Hamas being out of power in Gaza is good for the Palestinians. If the PA replaces them, it would represent a return to a unified state and make it much harder to justify total war against the Palestinian existence. Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but I think your approach to the subject is a little misinformed. The Palestinian Authority is the second least popular entity in the region in the eyes of the Palestinians. Obviously, number one is Israel. And the reason for why it is unimaginably unpopular is because the Palestinian Authority is a part of the Israeli security apparatus. The PA is completely controlled by Israel. The PA actively kills Palestinians and actively will give Israel targets to attack. The Palestinian Authority, in the eyes of the Palestinian population, is simply a Palestinian face on Israeli violence. Okay? Literally every act of violence in the West Bank is to a certain degree informed and a certain degree propped up by the Palestinian Authority. Anyway, are there any political groups in Gaza other than Hamas that could be better for the people and are supported by the people? Not necessarily, but it doesn't really matter because Israel treated the PLO in the same exact way, or the PFLP or the DFLP. Israel literally killed random PFLP and DFLP members that were in fucking Lebanon in their bombing campaigns. One must ask the question, why? It does not matter. The reason why Hamas is the only game in town is because Israel has killed everybody else. Okay? And in their bargain, they in their short-term thinking, they suspected that an Islamist fundamentalist group like Hamas will be perceived as bad guys unwilling to bend to the wishes of the Western world or unwilling to collaborate with any other Palestinian resistance group. So they are much easier to declare an enemy. That's it. It's much harder to declare a guy like Ghassan Kanafani as your enemy and then appear as the good guy, because if you're fucking Christian, okay, and you're a Christian socialist, especially during the Cold War, you have a lot more allies, both in the Western world and all around the globe, that will come to your aid to try and end the apartheid. But then you are assassinated alongside your family members for the crime of never even raising a gun, but instead raising a pen. That's what he did, and Israel assassinated him. Every fucking secular, atheist, socialist, Christian leadership, and other Muslims as well, have been assassinated by Israel over and over and over again. This is how the Palestinian emancipatory movement has evolved and turned into what it is now, by force and by a shit ton of violence. Okay? This video is a bit new, but go to and talks about the genocide from a Palestinian perspective. Another chatter recommended it. All right, I love I think this is a crazy good channel, Uncivilized. How to Erase a People. They've done like crazy videos on like how how Hamas fights similar to the Viet Cong, and numerous other videos. Yeah, how Vietnam teaches Palestine to fight invaders. How Israel uses sex to sell Zionism is the video we watched. Okay, let's finish this and then I'll watch that video.
And the Israeli army withdraw, but it's going to come, you know, there will be benchmarks and there will be arguments and there will be hurdles and hitches. Not a smooth process, but we're heading in the right direction.
But if we put this in the context, we heard Witkoff talking about squaring the circle. There are some mutually exclusive issues here, right? Netanyahu says the fighting has...
Genuinely asking, aren't you afraid of speaking in this manner about Israel with the current Trump administration in power, considering the fact that even Dems find your anti-Israel talking points offensive? I don't think Democrats find my anti-Israel talking points all that offensive. There are certain Democrats who do, but fuck them. I don't give a shit. It's the truth. I'm a firm and committed believer that you cannot undermine the truth, no matter how hard you try. Okay? It doesn't matter. What are they going to do? Throw me in jail? Okay. Fine. Did that change the reality? No, it didn't. You can do your very best to try to create a chilling effect. You can do your very best to try and stop people from recognizing the reality, but it doesn't matter.
Has to continue until Hamas are vanquished, and Hamas are determined, as we see in the pictures of the release, they are saying we are still here.
Let's say they actually commit to Project Esther, which is, you know, seemingly something that they might do. Project 2025, they've already committed to. Maybe they commit to Project Esther as well. They've already created an anti-Semitism task force. And in that process, they send me to jail. Okay? What changed? There are tens of thousands of people, some even more radical than myself, some braver than myself, that will take on the mantle, that will assume the role. Because there's always going to be people that recognize right from wrong, and they'll continue it. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm gone. So what? That's how this works.
Well, they're saying we are still here. What I didn't get around to mentioning, just time factor, is that the Arab states, 6 Arab nations met in Riyadh yesterday. There is going to be a big Arab summit led by Egypt on the 4th of March. And they're coming out with a counter plan to Trump's, and they're coming up with a who is going to govern Gaza detailed plan. And Hamas stated today, at least on the record to Al Jazeera, I heard Bassem Naim state in English that they are in agreement with the Egyptian plan and they're willing to relinquish control in line with that plan. So they also said that they're willing to release all the hostages in one go. So that will be 59 hostages after the 4 are released. So the pressure is on from Hamas, from the Arab states that are coming out for the first time in a united
Do you think some of that may be actually a reaction to Trump's Gaza-Ilago plan, that they've been bumped into offering something?
Without a shadow of doubt. I think it was part of the strategy. I think that is exactly what it is. There's no, I don't think I know.
We are sadly about to be out of time, but last thoughts on what we are likely to hear out of the Security Council meeting tonight.
You mean the Israeli Security Cabinet?
Yep.
Well, the Israeli Security Cabinet, I think you will hear a very, very tough stance, and that they're not going to give up. And, this is a right-wing government. Netanyahu will be playing to his local audience. And he
has to keep them on side.
Well, he may lose it, but we need to keep that in mind when we hear him, that he's talking principally to his audience, to his government, not necessarily to his supporters within the government.
Nomi Bayakov, thank you so much.
You're converting humans into terrorists and sending them into a secure annihilation. Expand on that, chatter. What do you mean by this? Are you saying that people recognizing the truly horrifying nature of apartheid and genocide is a conversion from a human to something different than a human, a terrorist? Is that what you're saying? Like, that's how untenable and unmanageable your worldview and your position is. That you have to... What? His name is Hasanabi? What are you saying? I'm not even saying I'm going to go to jail, by the way. I'm just simply stating that if that were to happen, it would still not change the truth. I'm saying that you're transforming God into a weapon? What? Bro, why is it that what the fuck? Okay, dude. All right, well, you're obviously insane.
Indeed.
My bad, chatters.
Thank you, Kami, for having me.
This is a very important and crucial question at this time, because unfortunately the negotiations for the second phase has to start on day 16 of the first phase and to continue within the conditions of the first phase up to the moment we agree upon all the points to be negotiated in the second phase. Unfortunately, Netanyahu and his government until now they are rejecting to engage in the second phase, and we are talking about only 1 week is left from the first phase, and we believe that this is again the dirty games of this right-wing government to sabotage the deal, to undermine the deal, and to send a message of willing to go to war again. We are again and again committed to the deal. We are doing, and we have already done and abide all our obligations in this deal, and we have fulfilled all the duties.
What would your role be within Gaza then?
Hamas, when it was founded as a Palestinian national resistance movement for clear goals, to get rid of the occupation, to achieve the Palestinian genuine national goals of a statehood, self-determination, right of return. These goals are still valid, and we will continue our struggle with all other factions, with all our people, to achieve this goal by all means, political means, diplomatic means, including armed resistance, until we achieve this goal. But to run the daily life of Palestinians, to run all the capabilities and the facilities of the Palestinians when it comes to health, education, social affairs, police, civil police, crossings in Gaza Strip or even in the West Bank, we are ready to leave it and to for the Palestinian consensus to decide how to run all these aspects of life of the Palestinians.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.
The federal firings reaching top Pentagon officials overnight. President Trump firing the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and ABC's senior White House correspondent Selena Wang is in Washington following the.
One of the most interesting aspects of the way that Hamas has conducted itself throughout this entire ordeal has been their willingness to work alongside all of the other factions involved in Palestinian emancipation, and the fact that they routinely say, like, they'll sidestep if there is like a democratic process that takes place. They have, if their ultimate goals are to dominate the Palestinian public, they have every opportunity to refuse to negotiate with Israel on the hostage releases, like the Palestinian hostages that are supposed to be released from Israeli hands, where in that process, they could just simply say they don't want to fucking release any of the Fatah people. They don't want to release any of the DFLP and PFLP people. They don't want to release Palestinian Islamic Jihad people. And yet there is at least one figure that is more popular amongst the eyes of the Palestinians than Hamas is. Hamas, I would say, is the second most popular entity in the eyes of the Palestinians at this point. There's one figure that they have actively tried to release from prison, Marwan Barghouti. If they wanted power, if that's all they cared about is like dominating Palestinian lives, they would never talk about releasing Marwan Barghouti. Because if he was released and there was an election that was held, he is the very likely leader of the Palestinians. So why are they trying to release him? And yes, Hamas is much more popular than the PFLP. I know. I'm saying that they are the only game in town. Hamas expressed a message to PLO and its readiness to hand over the Gaza Strip to the Palestinian Authority and the government committee to administer Gaza. Yeah. I doubt that they would allow that to be in the same way that the PA administers in the West Bank. Oh, here's more info from Barak Ravid. White House envoy Steve Witkoff will meet on Saturday evening in Miami with Netanyahu confidant Minister Ron Dermer to discuss the second phase of the Gaza hostage and ceasefire deal. An Israeli official told me this is the second meeting between Dermer and Witkoff this week. A new DM league where Ashley St. Clair asked for tips on how to seduce Elon Musk. Oh, that's amazing. All right. Anyway, let's get back to the news. Trump fires top U.S. general and Navy chief.
Breaking details. Selena, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Gio. This is an unprecedented purge of military leadership. The president is firing the highest-ranking military officer in this country and other senior leaders. It is sending shockwaves through the Pentagon. Now, the president hasn't directly said why he's firing them, but he has made it clear that he wants to get rid of anyone in the military who supports diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts.
Overnight, President Trump firing the nation's top military leadership in an unprecedented purge. Trump ousting General C.Q. Brown as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, removing the four-star fighter pilot as America's top military leader, and firing multiple other senior leaders, including Lisa Franchetti, the first woman to serve as the Navy's top admiral, the number 2 ranking general in the Air Force, and 3 other senior officers. Brown was nominated by Trump in his first term, which made him the first black chief of staff for the Air Force, but has come under fire as Trump aims to rid the military of leaders who support diversity and equity, as Brown and some of the others who were fired had done. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth once called Brown a DEI hire.
Well, first of all, you got to fire. You got to fire the chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
Brown telling our chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz last year he wants to be judged by his abilities.
I want to be judged based on my own accomplishments, based on my merits, and given an opportunity. That's all I've asked for throughout my, growing up. That's what I've asked for throughout my Air Force career. And hopefully, I'm sitting in this chair as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs not because I'm African American, because I'm a quality officer.
Trump nominating as his replacement Dan Kane, a retired 3-star Air Force general who has never served in a 4-star position. The shakeup comes as the Pentagon prepares to lay off 5,400 civilian workers starting next week, in the first wave of firings that could total tens of thousands of workers, as the Pentagon aims to cut 5 to 8% of its civilian workforce. Layoffs also hitting the Federal Aviation Administration.
Dude, capitalism is so funny. In order for capitalism to continue, you have to do imperialism, okay? Because labor is the most malleable aspect of production, of commodity production, and that means you have to constantly dominate labor, okay? Both internally and also with imperialism externally. But ironically enough, because of the endless growth attitude and the endless profit seeking that these parasitic capitalists have, they end up gutting their own institutions that unironically will undermine their ability to conduct imperialism. It's fucking awesome. Okay? On the one hand, I'm very frustrated with the reality that so many of these people are getting laid off. Okay? A job is a job. It's ridiculous. On the other hand, I can't help but notice that, and the same goes for like deleting US aid. I can't help but notice that these guys are probably going to engage in a private-public partnership and, put all of these agencies in the hands of the private sector that will now provide this service, which will make it more costly and ultimately significantly worse. Okay? The one thing that is, I guess, good about the government is that money is supposed to be no object. Okay? This allows you to do things that private enterprise might not be able to do. This allows you to avoid the trappings of corner cutting, short-term profit seeking, and the like. I'll give you the greatest example. If the American military was in this private-public partnership structure under the Cold War, we would have not gotten DARPA to invent what you now know as the fucking internet. Okay? It's pretty crazy.
More than 100 probationary employees have been terminated, including team members that produce air traffic navigation maps. Multiple sources tell ABC. While Trump insists the cuts are making the government more efficient, angry Americans across the country, from Georgia to Kansas, are pushing back.
We are all freaking pissed off about this. You're going to hear it and feel it.
In a district near Atlanta, Republican Congressman Rich McCormick feeling the heat.
The people would like to know what you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going.
Like, there's something so funny about thinking that U.S. aid spreads woke around the world, and to a certain degree it does, but being so hyper-focused on the NGO scheme that you think exclusively benefits Democrats, and there's, again, some truth to that. You know, it's like, oh, this is a money laundering scheme for the Dems, okay? That you fail to consider why this structure exists to begin with. It is hilarious. That's what I think happened here. They looked at USAID and they were like, this is a Democrat Party liberal scheme to keep paying their guys to basically create like a money faucet for liberals and Democrats to set up civil society organizations all around the globe. And to a certain degree, it's not, it's not false. That is what many of these NGOs have done, but they don't understand why USAID has done that. It's not simply to give Democrats money, you fucking idiot. Like, so much of the justification against China revolves around USAID funded media projects and civil society organizations. Like, who the fuck is going to constantly pump out material talking about how China's got the social credit schemes and how they're engaging in like unlimited organ harvesting of all Chinese that don't like Xi Jinping or whatever the fuck? How are you going to do that? People say Johnny Harris does it for free, except Johnny Harris relies almost exclusively on dudes who are in some way, shape, or form funded by USAID civil society organizations. So his sources need that kind of money to constantly do research. It's truly idiotic. Just like without real journalism existing, regardless of my criticisms of all of these insane publications that just like actively lie, undermine the truth, New York Times, yada, 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 I still will always tell you it is a profoundly important institution that must exist. I cannot do what I do without these institutions. I can't do my job, regardless of my criticism, without real Yusuf Mansouri as a Yemeni. I'm sorry you got canceled twice because you dared to defend Yemen. No, it wasn't a real fucking cancellation, number one. And number two, I will always defend people that are being actively murdered and slaughtered by Western Empire, okay? I don't give a fuck if people quote unquote cancel me. Also, that's a funny ass name, Yusuf Mansouri, like the dude who makes those ugly ass cars. Isn't his name also Yusuf Mansouri? The Mansouri cars. Chatter's about to be like, yo, that's my dad, bro. Chill. Anyway, we'll talk about Matt Iglesias. Mansouri is an Arabic surname. No, it's a clan name, Al-Mansouri. I follow a few Telegram groups that are pretty good for up-to-date news from Gaza, but their ideology overall is insane to me. They froth at their mouth over woke, but they also hate Musk and Trump. They also love Russia. That's amazing. I love shit like that. I feel like that right there is, I guess, the third worldist position. Like that low key is like, that feels like the position of the global south. You know what I mean? No, not even fucking MAGA communists, dude. Are you kidding me? MAGA communists love Trump. They eat Trump's dick. It's the most bizarre ideological build. It's not. I've tried to explain this to you. I don't agree with it, but I've tried to explain this to you before. And I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, they think America is the big bad for understandable reasons, because from their perspective, America is the big bad. So they literally are just like, yeah, I'm anti everything West. Oh, is the West like promoting homosexuality? Okay, fuck that. I hate it. This doesn't mean that like they didn't have homophobic opinions ahead of time, but this is just like is a way for them to reaffirm that, because they're like, oh, that's like Western moral degeneracy. Okay, and they like Russia because they think Russia is like striking back, is the only country that has the capacity to strike back at the big bad West. That's it. Oh, they're also anti-Syrian, recent Syrian revolution. Okay, then they're just they're like a, I would say that they are they're not like the third worldist position. I think most people are pro Syrian revolution. They're pro-Russian, but they're also pro-Syrian revolution. And I think that if those guys are also like pro-Assad, they're like the remaining fucking 8 Assadists. Like what's the dude's name? The fucking Scottish dude, George Galloway. George Galloway. Yeah, people who say they think Syria deserves what comes to it because it's been overtaken by terrorists is a fucking freak. Surprisingly, they're also very anti-Semitic. That's not very surprising. You've just described 11 different ways why these guys are fucking cranks. It's not really that. I will now clip this as you wholeheartedly supporting them. Fuck you.
To do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House.
In Colby, Kansas, voters furious at Republican Congressman Tracy Mann.
Is there anything that Trump and Eli could do that you would not support? I'm sure. Oh, tell me.
These mass layoffs are putting the federal government in turmoil at the same time that the Pentagon is dealing with this big leadership shakeup at the top. It's also starting to lose a significant portion of its workforce. Now, the administration is insisting that this is not going to impact military readiness, but some Pentagon workers tell us that they're concerned it could impact the readiness of troops, since the civilian workforce supports them both at home and around the world.
Christina Murray was finally living her lifelong dream of being a mother.
He was beautiful and perfect, but it was also very clear that something was wrong.
After a grueling round of IVF and 9 months of pregnancy, Murray, a white woman using a white sperm donor.
Speaking of Syria, did you see al-Shara, Jelani's father, talking about how his son shouldn't do neoliberalism? I love Zelensky. Okay. He is my favorite figure. Because every time he talks, every time there's another media hit, I am in awe of how fast liberals can just like drop Islamophobia. The father of Syrian transitional president Ahmed al-Shara has taken to Facebook to criticize the privatization of Syrian public companies. I'm a 100% believer in neoliberal al-Qaeda. I'm sure that lukewarm neoliberalism and its incredible wealthy accumulating power will take over. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's awesome. It's so funny, dude. It is ridiculous. Ahmed al-Zelensky. He has published 19 books in Arabic on regional economic development, particularly focused on natural resources and their potential contribution to education, agriculture, and military advancement. This translated version, bear in mind that Hussein Shara is an economist and a former Arab nationalist activist. He's like, listen, brother, son, the Al-Qaeda stuff was not great. Okay? Dude, you all have to also recognize not everyone who speaks against them is Islamophobic. Or sudden there's a real fear among minorities in Syria. What? I speak against them. What are you talking about? I don't trust the fucking HTS transitional state, brother. I'm sorry. You know, I'm simply stating that they're fucking better than Assad, but at least in the interim. We'll see. We'll see if that remains. I don't think that it will remain, but Assad was dog shit. He was just objectively fucking bad. He was weak as fuck. But under no circumstances will I ever go, nah, the fucking the former Al-Qaeda leader guy, I think is gonna be good. I don't think they're better than Assad, I'll be honest. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I said so far, and that is true. So far, they haven't done Assad shit in the opposite direction. There have been some instances of violence against minorities, for sure. Okay? But ultimately, you know, bro, I thought you believed in reform. Come on, dog. Bro, I thought you believed in reform is so funny because this is literally the same thing that has happened in the region, including but not limited to famously Osama fucking bin Laden. Like, what do you think? And they're coming at it from the exact, like, it's both of them are Al-Qaeda aligned. It's so stupid.
Damn, this guy's good.